Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm actually hosting this StreamYard from my cell phone, and I just wanted to test it out to see how it works. And so far, so good. So far, so good. I got my smooth jazz playing in the background, so I'm just over here mellowing out. What's up, raining woman? Yeah, I'm trying to see how this is going to work because this is actually a new feature with StreamYard that they're allowing you to host from the cell phone. So we're going to see how this works. I got my jazz on here, mellowing out. I was um I was in urgent care earlier today. I woke up this morning. I had a horrible headache, and my vision was kind of blurry. And I wasn't feeling too good, guys. I wasn't feeling good at all. So I took my blood pressure and it was extremely high. I'm talking about dangerously high. So I ended up calling my doctor. We did what they call a televisit over the phone. And I gave her my blood pressure reading and she immediately wanted me to go into urgent care. So that's where I was at the good majority of my morning. But I'm here to say I'm doing much, much better now. Okay, what's going on? Was that Mia D? Yes, Raining Woman. I'm feeling so much better. I'm still waiting on my medication though. But they were able to help me get my blood pressure down while I was on there. Thank goodness. Thank you, Bayou Bunny. And guys, let me know if you can hear me okay because this is my first time actually using the StreamYard from my cell phone. I'm actually not even near my apartment. I walked away from my apartment. I just wanted to see if this would work remotely via the cell phone. And so far, I'm getting you guys' comments very well on this. I'm liking the mobile version of StreamYard, by the way. And I'm just testing out a few of the features. So you're going to see me doing things to see if I can do a lot of the things that I did on my computer. But I want to say welcome to all the beautiful ladies. Good and clear? That's what's up. Yeah, so now, I can do these, post these live streams when I'm on my 30-minute break in the truck or whatever. This gives me a heck of a lot more freedom to do more of these live streams on the go. So I'm very excited about this new feature of StreamYard. Now, is the music overlapping with me talking? Because I'm able to have YouTube and StreamYard up at the same time so I can play my music in the background because I do like a little background music from time to time. And this jazz is my favorite. It's my calming music around this time of day. And don't forget, as you all come in, to please hit the like button, because that does also help keep me on top. You know, I was listening to a stream that Wisdom posted up earlier today, and it was a beautiful stream. It was only 25 minutes, guys. If you get a chance, go over to Love Wisdom's page. Oh, you don't really hear the music? Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Then I can just go ahead and turn the music off. So I guess StreamYard sort of just only hones in on the microphone for our voices. So that's good to know. But Love Wisdom, she had a really good stream that she posted not even an hour ago. And I was listening to her, and she was talking about the sisterhood and how we as Black women, we pound on one another the most. And I happen to agree with her. You know, when sisters are trying to help one another, you have me, you have Love Wisdom, you have Cluster B, Topaz, you know, many sisters on this online YouTube. Deborah Cooper, you know, these are all sisters. Who else? Crystalline, Chrissy, you know, these are all Black women that in our own way, we give something to the space of our personal life experiences, and we try to share with other sisters to try to help one another out, because there is some sort of how can I say epidemic going on in the sisterhood where we are just catty towards one another and just tearing each other apart. Now, it's bad enough that we are the least protected women out here. But then we have to go around and we have to also be predatory towards one another. And see, this is the thing that Love Wisdom talks about on her channel. And I talk about it a lot on my channel too. Because, you know, we can sit up here and we can point our fingers at the men all we want. And we can talk about how colorist they are, how they bully us, how they are abusive. But we are abusing each other too, ladies. We are also abusive to one another. Hello, at Bixme. Welcome. And so I wanted to get into this segment because, you know, I find that this to be true, what Sister Love Wisdom spoke about on her channel. It is very true. You know, even in this space, I find myself arguing the most with other Black women over hair and makeup than I do with Black men. Actually, I find it to be equal that I am having to fight with other Black women over these petty penny ante issues. We're calling each other names. We're tearing each other's features down. We are colorists towards each other as Black women. So, you know, before we can point the fingers at the brothers, we do need to turn that mirror around first and look within the sisterhood and find out why we abuse each other. Because make this clear, I'm not letting the men off the hook for their fuckery, because they are certainly doing what they do. But I cannot continue to ignore what we do amongst each other. And the hypocrisy, the nerves and audacity of some of us to sit up here and want to only point the finger at the men and only check the men when we are just as bad as they are. We got Black women that I have seen in these online spaces that make fun of other Black women features. We tell each other that we're ugly. We say to each other that your Black facial features, your nose is too big, and that makes you ugly. We say these things to each other just as much. I'm not going to say we do it more, but I am going to say that we do it just as much. And we're not talking about that amongst each other. So, when I'm doing this live stream, I'm testing out the StreamYard. I am also going to talk to you guys, because sisters, we do need to pull each other's coattails more. We need to pull each other's coattail more when it comes to a myriad of issues that we have amongst ourselves. The Black woman cannot find a friend with anybody, it seems, not even with each other. We look to each other for support, and yet we have people in our midst, sisters in our midst, who are not supportive, and they're just as misogynistic as some of these men come off. As a matter of fact, a lot of you, some of you, I'm not saying you in particular, but some of you will even join in with the misandry in order to gain brownie points and Scooby snacks. And I've said this many, many times before, it is not beneficial. Now, I know women that'll sit up here and say that, well, they're not talking about me. I'm better than those group of women over there that they're talking about. I'm not included in that. And I am here to tell you that you are deluding yourself if you think that they are not also lumping you in with the rest of them. Yes, sister, they are also talking about you. When they say that American women are done, they are also talking about you if you are an American woman. If you are also an American woman, you are also being lumped in with everybody else. When they say that Black women don't make good mothers, even if you are the best mother, you think you are the best mother, you think that you are the best wife, you have a husband, they're still talking about you too. They have lumped you in with everybody else. So, we have got to get over this as Black women. He ain't talking about me, so I'm not going to come to that sister's defense that they are being abusive towards. And yes, I will say that some of our own people, some of our own men are practicing a very peculiar, and I will say it again, some of our own men are practicing a very peculiar form of racism, misogyny towards their own women. And it's just time for us to lay all the cards on the table and put all the information out there so that all of us can be aware of it. And we should not be ourselves participating in it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So that's the reason why, I'm on here today. I wanted to do a talk also about the man shortage, because I had posted a very nice what do you call it, post on the community tab, on my community tab, and it's been lit. It's been pretty lit. Might do that for another time though, because this is really just a test. But oh, hello, Love Wisdom. I was just talking about you in your live stream that I was just doing. Well said, sister. Well said. Thank you, Bayou Bunny. Yes, and she's well worth it. This sister has a very strong voice and she tells it like it is. She is not going to mince her words, sugarcoat anything. She's going to give you the information that you need to hear, not the information that you want to hear. Like a lot of these fly by night, fly jock live stream personalities do. She's not going to do that, and neither is Cluster or Topaz or any of the other ladies that she mentioned on her page as well. She'd also mentioned these ladies on her page. And we need more women like this. We need more women that are not concerned about being trendy. We need more women that are not concerned about what's going on with the celebrity news. We need women that are concerned about the health and well-being, mentally and emotionally, of Black women. Actually, we do need a state of the Black woman union address every year. Every year or so, we need to come and we need to address strictly the Black woman's issues, because we do have a unique set of issues amongst the sistren that do need to be addressed on a regular basis. And we do need to have a public outlet where we can discuss these things amongst each other and give each other encouragement and the information that we need to self-improve. I do need to get my glasses because I can't see worth a damn. My blood pressure is off the Richter scale, y'all. As I stated earlier, I was in urgent care earlier today. I'm still waiting on my prescriptions to go through, and they're being absolutely slow about that. But that's another story. I've talked about the poor health care that a lot of Black women receive, and I have to end up fighting for everything. Okay, well, this is better. I got my glasses on. Hello, Kenny. C.A. Littre, leader of ADOS African Black Solutions, says some of those speakers don't research things they say. Oh, okay, I can just tap on here and get your thing. Okay, because guys, look, for those of you that just came in here, I'm using StreamYard from my cell phone. For the very first time, StreamYard is allowing content creators to actually host streams from the cell phone. So I'm actually doing this on my cell phone, guys. I have initiated a StreamYard stream from here, and it looks like most of the settings are here for the mobile version of hosting. I can even invite guests, it looks like. Hold on. Yes. Okay, so how do I post a comment? Okay, no, that's not. Okay, that's banners. Oh, okay, post comment. Okay. Let me see if that went through. Okay, yes, I just posted the link to the StreamYard so I can stream share. Somebody can grab the link. I can see how the stream sharing also works on here. But it looks like all the buttons and tabs, even the layout buttons, are the same. Oh, you said the cell phone version has been around a while, just tap screen. Okay. Yeah, because I've tried to access StreamYard from my cell phone before, CA, but I wasn't able to do it until now. So I don't know if it's been around for everyone, but I certainly haven't been able to do it. This is actually my first time even experimenting with it, but I like it so far. You know, everyone says that they can hear me clearly, and that's everything right there. Let's see here. There are other buttons here that I want to mess around with. Okay, but I know that now every time I got to post a comment, I have to go. Okay, I bumped myself off there for a second. All right. Yeah, but anyway, to just go back to where I left off. But your cell will need a very good Wi-Fi connection. It will spin at times. Okay, yeah, that's what they were saying. They were saying that to use it on the cell phone, you do need to have a very good connection to the internet. I got Verizon, so I'm wondering if my Verizon internet is good. I got the full version, so we'll see. So far, I don't see myself buffering, so that's a good one. All right, but going back to what I was talking about with the sisterhood, I was saying that ladies, we do have to look out for one another more. And we can't just be sugarcoating things to each other. Sometimes it does take, like Love Wisdom was saying on her live stream, it does take tough love. And sometimes feelings will get hurt. Now, me, myself, I don't particularly take any joy in hurting anybody's feelings. And if your feelings are hurt, trust and believe I'm not doing it maliciously, because anything that I say on here is not to be malicious. Okay. Anything that I say on here is to be helpful and to help you build as an individual. Hello, Topaz. Kenny says, by the way, Faith, you look fabulous going to dinner with your daughter. Oh, thank you, Kenny. And Topaz is another woman on YouTube that has fabulous content. Please check out her channel as well. Like and subscribe to her page as well, because she is another of the women here on YouTube that does also give you the information that you need as a young woman. And even if you're an older Black woman, there are some of the things that she says that you may need to hear, because a lot of us don't get it. I've run into a lot of older Black women that's just set in their ways. Like, even when I talk about man shortage, I have to argue the most. I mean, I argue with Black men about the man shortage too, because the man shortage in the Black community here in the United States is very beneficial to Black men. Of course, we all know that. So, of course, we're going to get a lot of Black men gaslighting and suggesting to Black women that we try stuff like polygamy and just get used to sharing men. But they don't never want to discuss the other options. They never want to discuss the other options. It just seems like you just got to get used to sharing. That's their option. Or they tell you that nobody wants you. And so I'm here to say that, we do have options. Okay. Now, the first knee-jerk reaction is to say date out. And that is not at all what I am saying. What I am saying is expand. And expanding your options once again. And I find myself repeating this because the reason I have to repeat it is because people will put words in your mouth. People will run from here to yonder, and they will slander your name and go based off of their own understanding of what they thought you meant. So I find myself repeating myself over and over again because I don't want anyone to ever have any mistake about what I'm about. I am Black first, okay? When I tell Black women to expand their options, I am not saying exclude Black men. When I tell Black women to expand their options, I am not even telling them to go running to the white man. What I'm saying is expand your options. You can date Black interculturally, or even if that does mean going outside the race. But expand does not mean exclude by any way, shape, form, or fashion. Thank you, Kenny. Kenny is on point with it, boy, I tell you. Oh, and my words got bigger. I like this. Now I don't have to have these glasses on. Cisse says there is no man shortage, but okay, there is a lack of guys. How will get bossed around like there once was, my male view. Okay, Cisse, I couldn't understand that sentence, so I'm trying to, in my mind, work it out with the grammar. But you're saying basically that you don't believe that there's a man shortage. Okay. There's a lack of guys who will get bossed around like there once was, my male view. Not quite sure what that meant, but yes, there is a man shortage. And shout out to Stefan Moultrie, by the way. if he's lurking out there somewhere, because he gave me some updated statistics. And so, me being the stat woman that I am, I can't post what he sent me in my email, but there is a man shortage, but it's not 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, or even 10-1. There is a 3-1 man shortage, according to Black demographics, who gets their information from the CDC. So there's a man shortage, but it's not as high as I once described it to be. But there is still a man shortage. Now, how the man shortage does get to be that 5-1, 6-1 is that there is a shortage of marriageable Black men as far as education wise, whereas Black women are now more educated. Now you have more Black women complaining that she can't find someone who is also on her same mental level. So if you're talking about the man shortage in that arena, I've read articles on that as well. So I'm steadily doing my research, steadily studying up on this thing, and steadily trying to figure out what the issue is that Black women are having when it comes to the man shortage. And yes, there is a man shortage, okay, by the way. Just to put that out there, there is indicatively a man shortage. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about here. Bayou Bunny says a lot of our counterparts are locked up. Yes. And that is the other thing too. The rate in which our men are incarcerated, and then also our young Black men, the death rate is higher for young Black men age 18 to 35. So you're looking at the man shortage where we start off pretty even, because it does say, according to the CDC and National Vital Statistics, we start off pretty even. Then by the time Black women are 16, those numbers begin to dwindle down. And so we have a lopsided number of men to women. The incarceration rate has a lot to do with it, and the low life expectancy of Black men also has a lot to do with it as well. So great observation at Bayou Bunny News and Talk. But I cannot believe this is working out great, guys. Wow, look at this. Yes, and also subscribe to Reigning Womb Man. And Kenny Conjure has also dropped her link as well. Topaz Presents. Okay, so this is working pretty good. I like this StreamYard feature that you can do it from the phone. I'm going to start doing this from the phone on a regular when I'm out and about. All right, so let's see here. At Bayou Bunny's News and Talk, well, you have to look at those Blacks. They begged Clinton to lock up Black boys in 1994. I don't know that we begged Clinton to lock up Black boys in 1994. CCA. As a matter of fact, if you can just take the link, I'm going to throw the link down here for you to take it, because I need you to explain to me some of your views here, because I'm not remembering any Black people rallying for other Black people to be locked up back in 1994. Your history, your recollection of history, and my recollection of history is totally different. Now, we did have an extreme condition in our communities where Black men were killing other Black men at an astronomical rate. And we were calling for something to be done about the huge amount of violence in our community. But we weren't calling for people to get locked up on minor drug charges, people who weren't even terrorizing the community as far as killing other people. So I'm wondering where you're coming from with that. But anyone wanting to jump up here, because I'm not going to be up here that long. Like I said, I'm more experimenting with this. Third Ward, what's going on? I see you over there with your big grin. And guys, take the time to check out my community tab as well, because I do post a lot of topics on the community tab, things that make you think, something to spark the conversation. I always like to get the conversation going to see what is on each and every one of your mind. But here's the thing, and I'm going back to my original thought, because I had just listened to a beautiful live stream that Love Wisdom did. And like I said, she touched on it very eloquently. I missed the live that she did with Cluster, and I hate that I missed that, because Cluster is another Cluster B. If you want to, if any of the mods has the link to Cluster's, any one of Cluster's channels, drop it in here. But she's also another woman that is worth listening to. And she is hardcore. I'm just gonna put it to you like that. She's hardcore. She's going to tell it like it is. Thank you, Bayou Bunny. But I'm sick and tired of us as Black women. I'm tired of us gaslighting on each other. I'm tired of us going ham and yam on each other over nonsense. We're sitting up here, we're the ones also abusing one another. And I want to go back to that, because the sisterhood, there is definitely an issue with how we communicate amongst ourselves. It's getting to the point where our loudest and our most ignorant are being pushed towards the forefront. And I'm getting tired of that. Okay, Cisse is backstage. Let me see if I can get you up here. I got the notification here. All right, Cisse, are you in there?
Yeah, CA, I am here.
CA, I'm sorry. I got my glasses on, but I'm still blind. All right, CA. So you were saying some things in the chat room. You were saying that you did not believe that there was a man shortage, and then you were also saying something about the Black people were advocating for the Clintons to lock up Black men. Could you please go into a little bit more detail about that?
Absolutely. So I try to speak in a way that helps, and I try to speak what's documented, so that way I don't get into the hyperbole of my own feelings about stuff. So I'm really open and willing to accept when something is just documented. You really can't defeat nothing documented. But I'll talk about the August 18th, 1994 thing in a minute. But the man shortage, I partially agree with you when you said 3-1. Earlier, I didn't agree. I'm a spokesman for Black sons, and I'm willing to agree some negative things about Black sons, but when it comes to positive things, we have way too many positive things that Black sons have done since 1999, and it gets overshadowed with this red herring talk, stuff that ain't documented, stuff that, and it's like on both sides of the gender equation, people are now saying stuff just to get rent money through YouTube. It's not even factual anymore. They're trying to trigger our people and get our people less educated about the truth. So when I said that there's quite a bit of dudes who are on point, minus the jail people. There's doctors, there's lawyers, there's engineers. But anytime you mention this stuff, the bailout argument is that don't mean I can't look at my crystal ball and guarantee that he's going to be good. Well, nobody's a guarantee. But I guess the thing is, are there eligible black guys? Yes, there are. There's quite a few. But when you drop it to 3-1, then I can agree with that, because some dudes are idiots.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Some of them are, and not all. I'm not here to bash my brothers, because I do value, and I see that there are brothers out there that don't subscribe to the fuckery. So I'm not going to put everybody, but there are too many that do. Too many.
Well. Let me say this though, as a brother who I work in medical, but on one of my side businesses, I counsel brothers. I have a CLC, and I will say this: it takes a lot for us to be measured. That's an old school English word. It takes a lot for us to be measured, because most dudes are not raised around warriors. Most dudes are raised around emotional human beings, whether male or female. And
True.
if you've been on the block, like I've been on the block, and then been able to transfer to corporate, both things are true on the block and on corporate. Control your mouth. But when you're raised around emotional human beings as a black boy, you tend to talk without thinking. And that either gets you fired or that gets you shot. And that's why so many boys are in trouble. Or you get dudes who have no mental power. So the only power they have is their penis. And when they get congratulated so much on their sex game, they never get to the point where they're mathematically calculated. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I'm following you so far. Yeah.
Well, let me be quiet and let you. I want to share the mic. I don't want to dominate it.
No, because see, I don't get a chance really to hear a black man's point of view without all the arguing and yelling. So when we're in my space and I can get a brother on here that's calmly making his case, I'm all ears. So the floor is yours. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all.
Well, I'd like to hear something on what you think I said so far.
Okay, well, basically, what you're saying, I kind of, can agree with you on some of the things that you're saying. And, once again, I don't demonize all black men, by the way. That just has never been my way. But what I will say is this, the man shortage, as far as how sisters have been handling it, we have not been handling it to our benefit. The way that we've been handling the man shortage has been to our detriment, actually, because you have a lot of black women. You got 3, 4, 5 black women. And I'm talking about as the man moves up the corporate ladder, because there aren't that many black men up there earning that amount of money or with that amount of education. So when you get further up there, the man shortage is even more grave. And those women, as the sister in the chat room said, just Z1, she stated that those guys are dating out. They're not even looking at black women.
Okay, let's go there. I hope everybody's ready. And I'm glad you allowing me to have this polite intellectual conversation. So I've been in medical for 26 years.
Okay.
Don't chew my head off. This is just my experience and a lot of brothers like me. Okay. I'm just a brother in medical trying to advance. I've had 75% more white, Asian, Latino women try to help me advance. And I've had 80% of my sisters try to get me fired, try to block me, try to stop me from getting positions. So respectfully, I want to put this to you. When just like Just Z said that, anytime we share our experiences, the first thing that happens, we get name called instead of saying, you know what, brother, if that happened to you, I'm sorry some of our sisters are doing that. We need to talk to our sisters. If we express our feelings like I just did, we get name called, we get ridiculed. These two things together, for the fact that a lot of guys who are trying to advance beyond janitor and security guard are experiencing those things, Now, I will admit, there's maybe about a good 30% of women who do help us, black women who do help us. There's some brothers who've had nothing but great experience. But I'm talking about, I've lived in several different states, I've traveled the world. And when I tell you, majority of our brothers, when I hear them talk about advancing, sisters are the gatekeepers. And that's the unfortunate thing. So now when you have a brother like myself telling you this, and he runs into somebody like, hey, black guy, how you doing? Oh, I just saw this movie. And next thing you know, they having a polite, non-combative conversation. Some of those dudes are not necessarily looking for white women. They just never had a polite conversation. And that's something women got to start policing women on. Let me give one more thing before you jump in. Let's look at the Latin community or the Scottish community, because I lived in England. Scottish guys are kind of short. You don't get Scottish guys getting ridiculed for their height. Tall woman dates a Scottish guy, there's no conversation about it. Tall, beautiful, big butt, big chest, Latin woman, beautiful, dates a scrumpy, troll-looking, hairy chest guy. Nobody in the community ridicules that dude. So when you guys say that, just Z1, I want you to also consider in a polite way this intellectual part of it, that if a guy's not experiencing all these horrific pushbacks for just being him, then some of these dudes, let's just call them 30%. 30% of these dudes are going to go outside because they're not being ridiculed. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so basically you're saying that a good 70% of black women are holding black women back in corporate. That's what I'm hearing. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, let me give you two examples of my personal experience. And I really don't trip off on it. I don't have no harp about it because I know how to navigate around it. But like in my field, I have 5 certifications, which is way much for average applicants. Okay. And remember, the whole point is to be qualified, right?
Right.
So I go in, this was at Wellstar in Georgia. I'm in Georgia. They have a position for a administrative person to do the paperwork, right? And they have like 7 different satellites. 7. Out of this 7, 5 sisters are the managers of these locations. Now, each one of them need one. And the 2 white women are in charge of one, but theirs is more farther out. Now, the problem and I want you to just think as a manager for a minute. The problem with that's happening is all these part-time people who have applied for these positions have not been able to be on time, let alone get the paperwork done and all that type of stuff, right? And they're trying to train these people. These people have never done these positions. Here I am, I show up with a nice suit, nice tie, I'm articulate. I'm from the hood, but I know how to flip. And I sit up here and have a conversation. They hit me with question after question. How would I handle this? How would I handle doctor? I've done this before. So I'm trying not to be too arrogant about it because I can come across arrogant. I'm an intellectual brother, and it's not normal for some brothers to be able to explain things, right? And I try to really tone it down, like, well, I would do this and then I would do that, and I would make sure the doctor had this and make sure, because at the end of the day, the finances need to be done. And I'd really go into the details. Do you know, and mind you, I have a certification for what they do. None of their other employees have one. Okay. So just thinking as a manager, you would assume you guys need somebody desperately. I can cover all y'all spots. I can do yours on Saturday. I can do yours on Friday. I already have a night position in emergency room. So I can do I can go do y'all stuff because it's part-time stuff. Do you know all 5 of them women said I answered the questions too perfectly? And it was the white women who fought hard to try to get me a position. Now, that's just one example. But let me just say to you, if you had to experience that over 10, 20 times, you tend to be like, wow, really? You know what? Just don't say nothing. It's our sisters. Just deal with it and move on. And that's what a lot of us do. We don't really complain. We deal with it and move on and just smile through it. But it really hurts a lot of dudes to go through that. I can tell you several other stories dudes have told me. And it's one of those things that black men don't really talk about because they don't want to hurt our sisters. They feel like sisters go through enough. But higher employment is the number one thing a black man needs from a sister. He don't need her to go out marching. He don't need her to get on the microphone. He needs her to do like Asian women do for their men, white women do for their men. They try to pull them into positions. Here's my last point. You know how there's always this thing people try to fabricate? Well, you're supposed to be qualified. You ain't supposed to hire nobody out of your family, and you ain't supposed to. Where did that myth come from? Because when you get up to the corporate level, you will find people from the same country hire their countrymen more than anything. They hire their family members, cousins. So we only hear this out of our ladies' mouths. So just for argument's sake, chat room, assume everything I'm saying to you is true. Now, what would be your rebuttal?
Okay, well, here's the thing, though, and thank you so much. And I'm glad that you expressed how you were feeling. But what black women are really in position, like you're talking about, to give black men jobs and opportunities?
Several. You will find most of black women. You can pick any industry. You find most black women are either managers or supervisors, and even when they are not, they may be admin assistants that hold a lot of weight in the office space. Let me give you another one very quickly. I had just moved back to California to help my family out because nobody was able to help, and went to Stanford University Hospital. Lady saw my resume. She was like, "Wow, gotta have you in here." It was a Latin girl. Gotta have you in here. You, man, are you okay with the pay? The pay is cool because I'm 8 minutes from the house, so this will be great. I ain't got to deal with traffic. Outstanding. You are basically in. You just got to go through the lady that's over me, my manager, who was a black woman. All right, no problem. I go in there with a smile, nice presentation. She looks at my resume. She said, "You know what? I don't think you'll be happy here. This just seemed like it would be boring for you." "Oh no, ma'am, please don't say that. This is 8 minutes from my house. Anything in medical is good. I love it. You know what? I can't let you accept this position. I think if you keep looking, you'll be." Now, this is not just my experience. Please don't think it of me. I'm just trying to be open and share my experience. But there are several brothers who will go on my page and say, "You know what, CA, I went through the exact same thing. You know what, CA, I went through the exact same thing. I ain't say nothing. I just went ahead and applied somewhere else." And let's be honest, there are other people that do it too. This is not a black woman only thing. It's just that the majority of it, when it comes to brothers, appears to be us. I did a thing on Yahoo Answers about I put out a post. I'm gonna have to do one again just because you and I are having this conversation. But I put out a post that said, if you're a black female manager, do you tend to be more harsh toward black male applicants and not realize that you're being harsh? And we got maybe like 20 replies. This was back in 2010. But what was very unique, one or two of sisters out of those replies say, "You know what? Until you post this question, I ain't think about it. I interviewed one guy and he reminded me of my boyfriend. And I didn't even realize I was so hard on him, not because of anything he said. It was just he reminded me so much of my boyfriend."
Well, now let me just interrupt you there for a second because I let you go there for a good long minute. But instead of you saying that black women are holding you back from moving up? Because I can't really imagine that being the case, because
I'm not talking about me.
well, you use yourself quite a few times in the example, so that's what I'm going by. You said that this happened to you quite a few times. So what I'm saying is, there are also many documented cases where there were Black men who are actually sitting up on board of directors having group interviews. And there was this one case, I forget exactly where this was located, where this Black male, he was director at this large Asian company, and the people actually had to fire him. He had to step down because of his racist hiring practices towards Black women. He even stated, one of the people that was on the board of hiring, or whatever, the hiring board, heard him say that he would never put a Black woman in a position of power. And then there's a Black man right here on YouTube that even admitted himself that he would not put a Black woman in a position of powers, and that he would go out of his way to make sure that they were fired out of their management positions. So exactly, what are we talking about here? Because I feel that this is an issue that is going on within our race, and this gender warring that we are doing amongst each other. It's not just a Black woman beating a Black man over the head, but it's actually Black men beating Black women over the head. And even, I would step out to say, more so of the abuse towards Black women on the parts of Black men. Because now we have Black men outright telling Black women that they are nothing, that they don't deserve any respect, they don't deserve any protection. You hear what I'm saying? So, when you're saying that Black women are doing these things to Black men, do you think that that's probably because they've actually heard Black men say that they were nothing, that they don't deserve protection? Do you think that might be a result of that?
So let me address the first thing. My conversation was about the topic. I did open to tell you about me, but at no point in time is this a me thing. This is just about the topic. I could give you examples about things other people have said, other people have experienced, but I wanted to try to give you a more empathetic view of what that is. Now, the other question you said, that I think it's unfortunate sometimes when we try to, as guys, because the original topic was why some of these guys do what they do as relates to dealing with other races. And I segued that into the corporate, because you did bring up the corporate, to kind of let you know how we interpret some of these things. And shout out to Neon Eyes. I see you in the chat room, and I understand if sometimes I think some ladies feel like we should never speak. Shut up, Black man. Shut up about your feelings and what you think. It's all manosphere talk. No, we're having a conversation. I'm going to hear y'all side. Y'all going to hear my side. But I think that if we, and I tell the guys this all the time too, if we just devolve into name calling or shouting down someone's experience, then we become worse than the mayonnaise enemies that we have. To talk about the last thing about what you just said directly, I think it is an even kill thing. I will say that, because the original thing was about why guys behave the way they do. But when it comes to some of these dudes have become very horrific toward women. I will acknowledge that. It's hard for people. It's hard for people to acknowledge that women are horrific toward men. I think when we mention that, it gets spent to a whole nother topic. It doesn't get acknowledged. I got brothers on my side who will acknowledge that brothers are over the top in some of the things they say, and we got brothers on YouTube who fight against that. But I find this just kind of weird, because something you said earlier about you're not that type of lady, and thank you for allowing me to have this conversation. I just think that it's very unfortunate because sometimes I don't know what the solution some women want from guys. Is it shut up and only do what we tell you to do? Is it we only want you concerned about elevating women? And when that argument comes up, here's what I would say, and I'm sorry for being long winded. I would say that there was a long time ago, white women convinced black women that the black man was the enemy. When in actuality, when the black man had a doctor's office, he made sure you were the secretary. When the black man had a dentist's office, he made sure you were in there assisting. When the black man had a factory, there was a factory called Reed Brooms. He made sure you were employed. But meanwhile, these same suffrage feminist women who were talking about women rights never had you in the advertisements, never hired you, and didn't even want you working in the office with them back in 1960. It was the black man helping you. So somewhere that got flipped to where finally, when our ladies started getting accepted into these offices that white women denied them, all of a sudden it was like, black guys, you never helped us. And that's what it comes across sometimes. Let me be quiet and hear your thoughts.
Okay, well, yeah, I am hearing what you're saying about the 1960s, but also keep in mind that in the 1960s, even though we did have more black businesses and black business owners than we have now, we still did not have enough to sustain the entire black population of workers. So that is the reason why a lot of us had to venture out and get jobs elsewhere. So, when you're talking about that, black men hired black women, yes, I will agree that they did. But at the same time, black women, we had to go out and we had to pretty much be the breadwinners for the entire household because our men were not getting jobs like that. Our men couldn't even hire each other at the rate that they needed to. So there were black women who had to go out there and work, and we were not getting even paid as much as the white women that were out there working.
Very true.
So when we're talking about history, we do have to, make sure that we're not being disingenuous as to not state all of the facts. So because all of these things did come into play. So I'm not negating what you're saying, but at the same time, it is not complete.
So here's my question. When women went out and did that, wouldn't it be a just and fair thing for them to hire those qualified men and not choose the white woman first?
Okay, well, where is your proof that black women are choosing white women first in anything?
Okay, there's a book called Hood Feminism where the author, it's a black woman, this is a documented thing, she's the one who actually said, we through feminist and womanhood sought out the white women and tried to bond with them in corporate and what have you. So I'm trying to use that as a gateway to say that, and not all women, this ain't a not all women thing. But what I'm saying is if there were guys helping black women, granddaddy and great granddaddy, why, explain it to me, why would women then who had to go out, as you just said, why would, when they became
But you act as if black women were not helping their men at all. Like I stated, black women were the ones who were paying all the bills, the sole breadwinners for a long time when black men could not even get jobs. That is how we helped you guys. We helped you guys by being the ones to hold you down until you could get elevated into positions where you can take your rightful place as head of household. So the way that you're stating history, once again, you're leaving out very, very important parts of history where black women were doing and were helping black men in the capacity that we could. There, once again, wasn't enough black women back in the 1960s that had any positions of authority to give you jobs. And see, you're sitting up here trying to create something that black women did out of something that just didn't exist. And as far as the feminism portion of it, once again, that was a movement that very few Black women participated in. There were more Black women taking part in the civil rights movement with Black men than there were Black women in the feminist movement. But once again, when we talk about history, Black men like to make it seem as if Black women were all about feminist movement, and there were no Black women over there on the civil rights side, and that just isn't true.
Yeah, I never said that they were not any on the civil rights side. I didn't understand.
Actually, there were more on the civil rights side, but but Black men tend to dwell more heavily on the ones that went over into the feminist side, and it wasn't even that many.
Okay, well, I don't know what you mean by that many, but let me ask you.
Not hardly many at all. Actually, Black women are, as we are now. Even now, Black women are fighting hard on behalf of Black men out here in these streets protesting. Okay, even to their own detriment, even to watching Black men show up at protests with their white women, holding up signs and dildos, talking about they love Black dick. Mm-hmm. You know, let's just be honest. Mm-hmm. So when you sit up here and you try to make it seem as if throughout the ages, Black women haven't had your back, I would have to give you pushback and hard pushback on that, because it's a lie.
I understand.
Black women have had nothing but your backs.
I understand.
Throughout the decades.
I understand, but I guess my thing I'm trying to understand from you is we're trying to, most of us are trying to get support in the corporate business area. And today, since 2010, Black men, according to the EEOC, and this is documented, they have the highest complaints of their applications not going through, not getting hired, or getting fabricated.
But that has nothing to do with Black women.
Why does that have nothing to do with Black women?
But okay, because there's nothing in those reports that say that Black women are pushing their applications back. How come? You know, because the corporate world is majority white and Jew. But you want to sit up here and take what Black women make up, what, about less than 6% of the corporate world, and you want to say that 6% is the one that's slapping your applications in the trash?
6%.
You really want to go there? Yes,
Where's
less than 6%. The ones of those of us that are in position to get your foot in the door, less than 6%. The majority of them are white and Jew and white Hispanic. But you're sitting up here wanting to say that it's Black women kicking your applications in the garbage, and that's not true.
So
9 times out of 10, when you go in to get a job, you're getting a job from a Jew. You're getting a job from a white Hispanic. You're getting a job from someone who is of not Black origin. Very few times are you going to run into a sister in that office. And a lot of times she's having her own problems, issues, and concerns with aggressions and microaggressions in the workplace and barely holding on to her job.
Okay. So earlier you said that the women are helping, but then we got away from corporate. Okay. And again, I'm just having a conversation. Maybe I'm not having a conversation people want me to have or think I should have, but I'm just having a conversation from the guy's standpoint. You said that they are helping, but they're not in a position to help on the corporate thing, which is our major concern. Our major concern is advancing, but they're not able to help there, is what you're saying, because there's only 6%. So just help me, educate me. Where's the 6% documented at?
Okay, well, first of all, you tell me where it's documented that there's nothing but Black women throwing your applications in the trash and sabotaging you. You okay. First, because you're the one that came up with the narrative.
Okay, I'll explain where I get that number from. Because the EEOC states that since 2010, Black males have the highest, and I will include that Jews, whites, and everybody else is including in that. Because they have the highest, and because these brothers have these complaints of women being, our women being the gatekeepers against them advancing, I'm putting the two together, then I'm going to extrapolate that has, even if it's 6%, that 6% is not doing what the great granddaddies and grandfathers did. But I could be wrong. So just explain to me how it is that if the great grandfathers was doing that because they saw that our women and our sisters and our aunties needed that help, how is it that the 6%, according to what you're saying, allows the EEOC to report to be that high amongst black men applicants.
Okay, but once again, you're acting as if there's a plethora of black women in HR, and there just isn't. I mean, you still have not proven to me that there are enough black women that you claim to even have that type of effect on black men trying to enter into corporate. There just isn't that many of us in HR for that to be true. As a matter of fact, if someone down in the chat could please, if you are a moderator, post the link and give me the numbers, because it looks like we really need to really get the real numbers out here, because once again, I'm not just taking anybody's word for it anymore. I need the actual facts, and I don't think that you're giving us the actual facts here. I think what you're doing is you're trying to spin a narrative that anybody, any buku fool can look up online and debunk in like 5 minutes.
Well, you know what? I applaud you saying that. So here's what I'm going to do, because I like the fact that it's that you said that. I've spoken, and this was in the past, I've spoken to black women who were part of the EEOC. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a good faith effort on my own and on my own dime to go out, and without trying to push them any narrative, I'm going to try to get them on my show to see if they surprise me. Because the last time I talked to the lady in DC, last time I talked to Mr. Ryan, I can't remember his last name, in Atlanta, this was their own conversation. So to say that, and again, ladies, y'all have to be, and this is not you as the host, but I'm saying those people who are listening, you have to be allowed to hear what the guys are saying from a different narrative. I understand some of you, small percent of you, want it to be a...
We've heard what you guys have said.
Okay, let me be quiet. Go ahead.
All right, I just want to welcome Mela to the stream. Welcome, sister. Go ahead.
Yeah,
oh, no,
peace.
You cursed me out last time. I'm gonna go ahead and drop off of that. I don't want to get cursed out.
Peace.
Nobody is gonna. Nobody's cursing anybody out.
You did that on Cluster Show.
Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna do that.
No, we don't do that over here.
Right. Nobody's gonna do that to you, Q. And believe it or not, as an adult, I do have self-control, and I wanted to add on to your contribution to what I've heard thus far. And I don't know if it means anything. Every HR that I've ever encountered wasn't headed by black women. You know, those that were black women were looking out for brothers. They actually went out of their way to tell brothers in the community that certain high positions were available and that they need to apply because they're qualified. Women are looking out for brothers in a significant way. And it would appear that the message that you're passing continuously is that sisters don't look out for brothers. Now, that being, let's consider I haven't cursed you out. Do you have a response to that?
Yeah, my response is that's just a statement. It's not bound in any evidence. I will say this: virtually every place that I and my brothers have been through has been majority sisters in the HR. Now, maybe it's different for you ladies. I'm willing to understand y'all experience, but from us as brothers, it's not what you guys are saying we are seeing. Majority of us see the gatekeeper, which is why we coined that phrase. It isn't just something, and I think that when we say these things to you guys in a polite way, it's like y'all don't have to agree with it, but at least acknowledge that there is that multiple perception amongst guys. I don't even adhere to the I hate black women crowd, but I do push this narrative of what I've personally seen and what I counsel guys through. I have to tell guys, man, don't be angry. Don't be angry. And what happened? Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's be clear. You don't have to hate black women to exploit them. Sometimes a man just enjoys exploiting the black woman.
We're not talking about exploiting. We're talking about what is You know what?
In any event,
Let's take
any
men.
event.
Let's take men off the
Oh,
table.
now we're changing. Okay, now we're changing up. Okay.
Yeah, because we're about to turn into something else. Tell me what you guys experience in the workforce that makes it difficult for you guys, so I can learn.
The only thing that
for me,
oh,
and
go ahead,
I'm
babe.
just
Go ahead.
yeah, what I've experienced in the workforce has been pushback from white supremacy. Okay, I have not experienced anything from my sisterin, except for maybe the usual cattiness, but that's the usual. And the only thing that I've experienced from my brother was the usual, him, trying to make sexual advances, but that's the usual. But as far as getting ahead, all of my roadblocks have been put up through white supremacy, because I know that my brothers have not been able to stop me to do anything. It has mostly been white supremacy, because they're the ones that have majority of the jobs out here. Now, I don't know what it is that you're experiencing, right? But I don't see too many even black women in power. And I've had black female bosses, but none of them have ever stopped me from advancing. As a matter of fact, I've had more of them try to help me advance. I've had brothers try to help me advance. So this whole narrative that you're putting out here, I've not experienced that at all, brother. I haven't.
Even the director of a government agency has to answer to the governor, and the governor oftentimes, how many black governors do we have? Since all these laws are being designated to states, how many black governors do we have? Any brothers governors right now?
So I'll say this to what you just said. Many brothers, and again, for me personally, I don't care about a lot of this stuff because I know that it happens and I know how to navigate through it. And I try to teach dudes how to navigate through it, how not to be angry at it, because it just happens so much to us. But the earlier question was, why do some of these dudes, call it 30%, behave the way they do? And I did make it known in this beautiful experience of sharing with you guys that this is what a lot of them are thinking. And I think it's too easy for some women to just label them as crazy, because women wouldn't want guys to do that if they went through something. I think it's not good if women just become combative toward some guy that's going through whatever. Okay. I will say this. I will ask this last thing while I'm here, because I really want to know the answer. I say this on several panels. Women invented this term, and I'm getting off of corporate for just a second because, you know what? Hold on. I got to address this. Neon eyes. Please stop with the negativity. You can have an opinion, but trying to promote my character as something else, I don't sit up here and try to demean you. There's a bunch of stuff I could say, from dating choices on and on, but don't do that, lady. Let's just have an intellectual conversation. If you disagree with my topic, then address the topic, but don't attack character. I volunteer way too much for my Black community. I put in quite a few dollars for my Black community on both gender sides. For you to try to fabricate on this platform and try to trigger and put a battery in the backs of people in the chat room, please stop that. Let's have some professionalism in this beautiful conversation she's allowing me to have.
Well, yeah, but it's not just neon eyes. I see quite a few sisters. And I'm not familiar with your work, by the way, so I don't know. But I see quite a few sisters here are saying that you have a tendency to mock women on your platform.
See, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't mock people on my platform. And if you have a sentence that you've heard me say, then put that in the chat room and prove your point. I will wait.
Okay, but while we're waiting on that, because I'm quite sure the sisters are going to come through with quite a few quotes, and we'll read them off one by one and we'll deal with them. But I do want to go back to the conversation that we were having. Because it's interesting. I mean, like I said, I do enjoy having amicable conversations where we can talk and we can get, both sides on the table. And I am not going to negate your feeling, that you feel as if it's black women holding black men back in corporate. Even though I will say, brother, it is very ridiculous because there aren't enough black women in high positions in corporate to be effective in holding anyone back. But
I will
like
start
I
having
said,
them on my show. I'm going to start having them on my show, and because I think that would be a great thing for the community, is to see if I can get them on my show, because I've talked to quite a few people in my field who now understand and know it to be true. Maybe in other fields, maybe that's not the case, but I know particularly in my field, now that the Filipinos are taking over medical, you got a lot of black women who hear my message and they like, you know what, we really thought it was everybody's should be for themselves, but we realize and these other people are not like that. They're all for who's ever part of their flag. Let me say this also. If you notice, I want to point out to you as the host, nobody was able to put a sentence that I've said in the chat room. Not that it matters, but I just want to show that making these false statements to try to get other ladies angry is called spin. You're trying to spin away from the discussion we're having and trying to create an emotional battery pack to put in people's back. Come and have an intellectual conversation if she allows it, but don't make up fabricated stuff just because you don't like what I'm saying and just because I don't have a woman's first point of view on every topic. I'm sorry, host. I apologize, Faith.
okay,
I like when you've had an intellectual conversation, because when I think back on what I've observed from your channel, and as recently as 18 months, it's been a lot of projection, and pushing a narrative that a black woman can't be relied upon to actually, come forth as anything viable, and tell me if I'm wrong, since you want to talk that people are spreading whatever. You have actually said that your intention is to adopt sons. You have given up on the concept that there is a opportunity to find a viable wife anywhere that will produce children thrive, to the point where you're just going to become content with adopting sons, which is, I ain't got nothing against that. And you're gonna, but my thing was, you said you're gonna send them to boarding school, and then I hear, now you didn't say this part, I'm thinking about people that actually send their children to boarding school, and those who are extremely wealthy, and it's almost a status symbol. May I ask whether or not that's true? You actually assert that there's a woman worthy enough to be the mother of your children, so you're going to adopt and send them to boarding school? Is that true?
So this is the only question personal question I'm gonna ask, because again, has nothing to do with the topic, but you know what? I'll do this one. Just because people don't understand what another human being chooses to do, or they don't understand the explanation about something, or you don't understand what boarding school really does, then it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. You could try to dress it up it's a bad thing to try to derail our topic, but it's not a bad thing. It's just something you personally don't understand.
Sir, you're being presumptuous.
Hold on. I'm trying to answer. That's why I don't want to be argumentative. Just trying to answer. I left America at 19 years old on my own dime. I've been an international dude for years. I have an international point of view, but I'm still black first. So when it comes to my sons, I'm going to give them an international schooling. I want to make sure that they're able to take care of the lineage I'm leaving, make sure they're able to take care of the property I leave them, make sure that they're well-rounded with 2 languages. Just because another human being doesn't want to do that doesn't make me a terrible person. It just makes it something you might not do. Now, back to the topic, respectfully, I just come to these spaces just to have conversation, because I want to show guys that we don't have to get into the name calling, say the little clown stuff, and do all that stuff. There are things that women do. This is our perception as guys. Nobody has to like it, but there are things that men do. Nobody has to like it, but it does happen. And I think when we have an opportunity that Faith has given us to have a dialogue to where everybody gets to speak, and I'm sorry for taking the mic from the other lady who's about to speak, but I think that's when we're supposed to do that. I'm not trying to convince you guys I'm 100% right. Just like I said to Faith, I'm going to dig into the details and try to go pay somebody to come on my show from the EEOC and see what they got to say. Sorry, Faith, for the long-winded.
Okay, no, and I do appreciate you being respectful. I appreciate everybody on the panel for being respectful, but I do want to move over to Sister Love Wisdom, who has been patiently waiting here. And I wanted to see what she wanted to say on the topic.
Oh, good evening, everyone.
Peace and salutations as well.
Yes. Now, honestly, there are more white women in HR than there are Black women. The positions that Black women have in HR are like secretaries. You may have a handful of HR generalists, but most of these women are white. And that's something that, you know, Black women, we can't control because we don't own the corporation, you know, and most of the time they don't put us in positions where we can hire our own. Now at my job, there is one Black vice president of human resources, and she goes out of her way to help brothers get jobs. She goes out of her way to help brothers get into these training classes so they can advance. So in my lifetime, I have seen Black women help out Black men a great deal, down to teaching them how to write their resumes, how to get ready for a job interview. I've seen that with Black women. Now, for some Black men, the experiences may be different, where you may have some Black women who might, you know, hold you back for whatever reason. But for the most part, it really has been Black women like helping Black men in these positions. What I don't like is the projection that Black women somehow don't help out Black men, because there's too many examples of Black women helping out Black men. Now, in addition, and this might be moonwalking a little bit off topic, but whenever Black women have spaces where they are trying to hold themselves accountable and trying to fix their mistakes, because in this space, we always hear that Black women don't take accountability for nothing. Black women, but whenever Black women do and try, it always seems that brothers always want to come in and not, this is not towards you, Mr. Research, but it's like brothers want to come in with their unsolicited opinion about how Black women should operate and what they should do. And my thing is, it's not your journey. If she's trying to fix herself and having these conversations where she could be talking about a Black man based on her experiences with him, that's not a shot at Black men in general. It's that particular Black man and what he did to her and the mistakes that she sees that she doesn't have to do again. Like, if we want Black women to be accountable, you got to let Black women be accountable. And I think in this space, everybody is in everybody's lane. Like, I think Black men should stay in their lane and fix themselves, and Black women stay in their lane and fix themselves. And when that door is open, we are made over and we're fresh, because what ends up happening is people get too emotional to have certain conversations, and then it becomes the old gender hustle tactic again. Like, I really think black men and black women need to kind of close the door and fix themselves.
I totally.
All of these projections does us more harm than good. Now, whatever your experiences are with black women, that's your experience. Now, if you got too many negative experiences with black women, you may want to check yourself. But if you have experiences with black women that wasn't as favorable, okay, what mistakes did you see, and what are you going to do as to not meet that type of black woman again? Because right now, we're trying to help black women get their self-esteem together so they can stop being starter kit women to these men who don't care about them. Y'all say black women choose Pookie and Ray Ray. Okay? So now we're trying to help black women do right and do better in their lives so they can choose decent men. But if brothers gonna keep trying to bone rush and offer their unsolicited opinion about what black women need to do, then at the end of the day, do you really want her to change, or do you want her to change based on how you think she should change? And that's just as worse as black women trying to use black men as their sort of project to make them over. It's not going to work.
I agree.
I have a response. When
Go
I'm
ahead,
afforded the opportunity.
No, go ahead,
Thank
Melanie.
you. Thank you kindly. What I have perceived within the last, 18 months to 2 years, and I've examined different conversations as well as everybody knows, well, not everybody, but people may be familiar with how I participated in from good, bad, and everything in between. Something serious, something satirical, all that stuff. I've been around, and what I've observed, I've always come in as an observer. What I've observed is the push of a tactic that is based in resentment and otherwise known as the switcheroo. This switcheroo tactic that's being practiced, in my humble opinion, amongst brothers is so prevalent and obvious that it's distractionary from us as women, making sure that we experience one another therapeutically. You know, that was
Right.
my chief prayer. That is my chief prayer, that we as black women experience one another therapeutically so that we can make decisions, sound decisions, with a clear mind and full awareness. That's very important when you're making decisions, be it for a family that you already have established, or if you're trying to pick out how to establish a family. It's important to make sound decisions. And it's important to know that if we've had disturbing backgrounds, those of us that may or may not have had disturbing backgrounds, we have the propensity to be quote unquote impulsive. And that gets us caught up every time making the wrong choices. Now, with the platforms of women that will expound upon therapeutically what to and not to do, is very enriching for our culture if we are not distracted with these switcheroo tactics that these brothers are throwing on us just because they are caught up in the resentment of being made to feel some type of way for what they say the past 60, 30 years, talking about Oprah. I mean, I knew they was full of it when they started talking about Oprah. I said, wait a minute. You're going to base your entire argument on Oprah episodes? For real? You know, you're not actually examining the duality that exists in how men and women that that look like us relate to one another. You want to bring up some TV media stuff while we're on social media?
To be honest, not to cut you off, but Oprah actually bashed on white men more than she did black men. I mean, her shows actually depicted white men in a bad light, more so than anything.
They'll come up with anything to pull the switcheroo on us, in my humble opinion, because that is quote unquote game. It's no mistake that these brothers out here
exhausting that word game all over the place. Yeah, because the game and the game and the game. It's like, wait a minute, I know a card game that includes a strategy called switcheroo. Okay, it's called coon cane. Some coons can, some coons can't. They trying to make us be the coons that can't. It's just that simple. It's a tactic, and and as much as I appreciate their effort, like, yeah, I guess if I was bad, I would want to assert myself too. At the same time, it is really, really infringing upon Black women coming into an era where of self development, and the need for that is to extend one another a level of trust so we can therapeutically heal. You know how, you can't just hate a Black woman on sight because she another sister. You have to actually say, that's a sister, I can find healing with her. And these
Exactly.
brothers that are pitting us against one another, they interfering with that, and I don't like it. I just don't.
So I would say to Love Wisdom, I'm glad you're doing well. Haven't spoke with you in a while.
Well, that was Mela that was just speaking.
No, I'm talking about Love Wisdom.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I remember when Love Wisdom didn't have a show, she used to come on my show. She voiced her opinion. I listened to it. It was, good conversations at those times as well as today. I'm learning also because, see, I don't care for myself. I'm very stoic in that way. It's more so for this community. We have a two-folded thing going on. And women have sisterhood. I applaud y'all for that. And you guys are making it even better for yourselves. Guys don't really have brotherhood. And what I came here to say to Faith originally is that Granddaddy told us to put ladies first, not ourselves, but ladies first. And a lot of these dudes, it didn't pan out for them the way Granddaddy told them. And that has nothing to do with y'all. Y'all human beings, you able to do whatever you want to. Go right, go left, it don't matter. But Love Wisdom, I would say this. You're right, and I'm about to crap on the brothers just a bit. You're right. There's a lot of guys in these spaces, and I'm one of the creators of a lot of this stuff. These dudes don't have careers when they need to be focused on that, are not able to manage anything or be supervisor or anything, and I get on them about that. You can't sit up here waste time talking about females when you can't even lead your own son to property, land, ownership. You can't sit up here and tell what females should be doing, and I'm right, and you're right, Love Wisdom, when you can't even tell the Mexicans at your job what to do with the pipe once it comes out of the fabricated thing. And I'm actually agree with you on that. And I've always agreed with you on that. That's the problem with a lot of dudes. But I will share with you, ladies, a lot of these dudes, once again, like I said to Faith, they didn't grow up around warriors. So if that's going to be they didn't grow up around Furious Styles from Boys in the Hood. They grew up in a situation that many of them did not like and did not want. I've had dudes tell me that they would have rather been orphans than to grow up where they grew up because the orphanage treats them better. I think I came up here to share with Faith that for a lot of these guys, it's not so easy as, well, they're over 21, they should know. No, a lot of these 30, 36-year-old dudes that women call men when they should be calling them boys have no proof of track record, Faith. They have nothing in their lives to say that they are feared by dragons and elephants. They have nothing. They have no skill set, many of them. So the greatest thing they can do is either the bedroom or talk about a female. And I know somebody else just joined, so I'm gonna yield.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, actually, this is the Neon Eyes has just joined the conversation, guys, and she has been patiently waiting. And so I just want to welcome Neon Eyes to the conversation. And Neon Eyes, please, give us what you will.
Peace and salutations, Neon.
Hey, Neon.
Hi, Faith. Thank you for allowing me to join your panel, and hi to everyone on the panel. I just wanted to come up here to clarify myself because I was very vocal in the chat room. I wanted to address the original topic and some things that Q was saying on the platform. The first thing is, Q, I don't think that you really care one way or another if let's just say that Black women, because you when you first joined the panel, you kind of went into the numbers thing about you moving from state to state and working in corporate America and having all this experience with Black women who were somehow blocking your progression in your corporate career. Is that correct?
No, that's incorrect. That you have listed. Listen, what I said was, let me give you an example of my own personal, and we were talking about the topic of what many of the brothers feel in regards to why they segue towards some of the other non-Black women. I was giving Faith an example of what some guys go through.
I'm not talking about.
So let's not turn it into a personal Q vendetta. If we could
I'm not turning it into that. You specifically said in the beginning when you joined that it was always a Black woman in your corporate careers that was always blocking your success and progression. You absolutely said that. If anyone can align this
for many brothers,
and you also used yourself as an example. So at this time, you know that I used to support your platforms. I used to join your panels. I used to, add to the conversations, add my little philosophies or whatever. I stopped supporting you because I see how you exploit Black women. You don't give a damn about Black women. I'm going to be very forward because I think that what you want to do, I think really what you want is for Black women to be your mules.
What you think? Just show.
You want to use Black women to get ahead, but then once you really, and shout out to Cookie, she just had a stream on this today. You want Black women to be your starter chick. That's what you want us to do. You want us to be your mule. You want us to work for you, help you get ahead, when really you don't even uplift us. I have been to your channel countless times. What do I see? Videos of non-Black women dancing on yachts half naked with no tops on. You don't uplift Black women.
What? Wait a minute.
What video is that? Name the video.
Let me finish.
I've seen a twerking video.
Stop lying.
Let me finish.
Okay, hold on. Let me recapture this. So wait, Q. You got women on yachts, non-Black women twerking on yachts on your channel?
No, that's a lie. That's why she can't name
I
video.
promise you that is not a freaking lie. You have multiple channels. You have multiple channels, Q. You have a video of where you are on vacation and you had these women on the yacht who were twerking. They were on a pool and all of them were on the edge of the yacht. They didn't have no tops on and they were all twerking. I didn't see not one Black. See, you don't uplift Black women. As a matter of fact, on your channel, I'm not finished. On your channel, you promote a lot of division between Black men and Black women. That's why I said you don't believe in Black women. You don't care about Black women. You just want to use them to get ahead. You don't uplift us. You don't promote togetherness between Black men and Black women. And that's the issue that I have with you. And that's that switcheroo stuff that Mela was talking about earlier. And I totally agree with her. You are a hypocrite.
Okay. All right. Now hold on, Q. Because now the women, the ladies that are here, they have a point. If you're uplifting white women on your platform, why aren't you on a white woman platform asking them to uplift you and help you out with jobs and help you get further up the ladder? Why are you here complaining that Black women aren't, but you're over there uplifting non-Black women? We're not going to benefit from uplifting you if you're doing that.
Okay.
And Bingo is his name, oh.
He does not make content that is beneficial for Black men. He teaches Black men how to listen, he has even talked about taking money and pimping women out. This is his rhetoric on his channel. He has like 3 different channels. He has the Black Male Wisdom. He has the Alpha Black Wolf Wisdom or whatever. I stopped following all his stuff because I see him. I saw you a long time ago. And yes, I'm very triggered right now because it's men like you who try to infiltrate our conversations. How many times have you changed the subject since you've been on this panel? tonight? How many times have you changed the subject?
This is a complete lie. But keep
It's
passing
not a
out,
lie. It's not a
keep
lie.
passing out batteries.
Okay, well, she is right, because you did start off saying that Black women were not helping, but I can't see what the benefit would be if you're not going to take what we're doing to help you and uplift a Black woman.
So
If you're sitting here and you're being disingenuous on this panel,
how am I being disingenuous?
hold on, we're going to find out, because court is in session right now. We're going to find out. Because see, that's one thing that I'm not going to allow to let go down on this channel. Now, you know, I will listen to you. I will listen to your side of the story. I want to hear all sides. So now that she's called this out, I need to hear your side of the story, brother, because it's not sounding good.
Somebody
And right now I got not one, not two, and I see a couple in the chat saying that she's right. So I need you to explain this.
So just because somebody tells a lie and other people want to find unity in the lie does not mean it's factual. Earlier, I said to you, Faith, can that person name a sentence? That sentence still has not come. So that's evidence one in this court.
Because you're using that to defend from their original topic.
Evidently, you don't want me to speak.
Nice deflection. Nice deflection. We don't have each other's phone numbers to coordinate some type of attack. We don't have each other's phone numbers.
Thank you for the
we don't have that. So for each and every woman to have witnessed.
Yelling doesn't mean that's factual.
All right, no problem.
You're trying to unify around the lie.
For each and every woman that has no outside contact with each other to agree on one point is very poignant.
Okay,
very poignant.
Okay, hold on, ladies. Let him answer the question, because I'm curious. Now, is this true? Did you have women twerking on a yacht, non-Black women on your channel?
We have on my channel, there's nobody on the yacht dancing, period. That's the answer to that. Have we had TikTok uploads of people dancing? Human beings, male, female,
That's
white.
What I said. That's what I said.
No, you said yacht. Stop trying to change.
It was a yacht. It was a yacht in the water. I know what I saw.
Argumentative. If you're going to either
all right. Well, forget what it was. I don't care if it was TikTok, and I don't care if it was a yacht. Were these Black women? Were these non-Black women?
They were non-Black women.
There were Black women, non-Black women. There were men. There were children dancing.
That's not true. That's not true. The video that I saw, it was 4 women. It was 4 women. They had on thongs. They were topless. They were clearly non-Black women. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see. It was 4 women. They were hanging on the edge and they were twerking, and they didn't have on any tops, but their backs were facing the camera. I know what I saw. Q, don't do this to me.
So name the video.
So you have wholesome
because it's a
videos
lie
of non-Black women.
This is what's amazing.
You have wholesome videos of non-Black women. They're wholesome, video, right?
Instead of you doing what anybody would do in college, prove your source. You lie.
What's the wholesome video that you're proud of?
And then you have a second person come in to try
What's the wholesome video that you're proud of?
More batteries. It's a lie. Can we move back to the real topic and stop all these lies?
See, that's why he keeps deflecting. He knows that I'm telling the truth. He knows what video I'm talking about. This is why he doesn't want to address it. He does not want to address it because he knows I'm telling the truth.
No, you're lying.
Okay, well, hold on now. Wait,
you know what? I like
let's
this.
Get to the bottom. Let's get to the bottom.
Antagonize other women, hoping that they get angry too. And you're hoping that
nobody's angry. First of all, I'm not angry. Okay, but I am trying to get to the bottom of something. Okay, so Q, you want Black women to be more useful to Black men in corporate and in helping you guys get ahead.
No, I don't.
But that's what you just said.
I don't need Black women to be useful. I asked a question because I came here talking to you, Faith, originally from the standpoint of learning why this, why women that, and I posed some questions to you. As I said many times to you, Faith, before everybody else came on, it's not really my concern because I know how to navigate past it, irregardless of the fact. But I think that what we're experiencing is we as men are not supposed to share. We're supposed to just be quiet. So I just took this opportunity because you were talking originally, figuring out your phone, Faith, and we was having a real cordial conversation. Now, even though all this is going on, I'm still having a conversation. I'm not going to be like the other
Right,
brother.
and I'm having that same cordial conversation with you too, Q. And I figured the phone out. You know, everything's cool. But now, what I want to
I'm
know
not mad
is,
at you, Q. I'm not
Hold
mad
on.
at you.
hold on, y'all, hold on. Q,
Go ahead, Q. Go ahead,
do
Faith.
you see yourself being with an American black woman?
Oh, very much so. I love very, very dark-skinned women. I prefer, and I've said that. Love Wisdom heard me say that. Ella has heard me say that. She's gonna get quiet now and act like I never said it. And if I'm
No,
not,
I know you like them looking like Grace Jones. I know
Yeah,
you said
absolutely.
that. You like them
Very,
looking like
very,
Grace Jones.
very blue dark.
You have said that when I used to come on your show, you did say that. Now
Before
for
it
me,
was even popular.
right
Okay,
now,
go on, Love Wisdom. Continue.
Go ahead.
for
Em.
me, this is the first time I'm hearing about non-black women, because when I used to come on his show, we were talking about black families, black communities, at the differences between men and women. So I never paid
Facts.
attention. Wait a minute. I never paid attention to the other stuff. Now, if what Neon Eyes and Mela and some of the sisters in the chat is saying is true,
Batteries.
that you have non-black women that you are praising, all the while giving the impression that you love black women, then I have to say you are no different than the other black men in this space that you're talking against, if this is true. All right, did this now?
I have not ever heard him say anything negative about non-black women. I have not ever heard him say anything negative about non-black women.
Faith, here's what I say to you, and I'm glad Love Wisdom said that. Here's the thing. You got people who I see in the chat room that have non-black boyfriends, and I know this because a couple of people, we've had that conversation before. I ain't gonna call them out, but I think that has nothing to do with the topic that we were discussing.
The topic of the
Mela,
channel
please don't derail.
is
Let me
saying,
speak to Faith. Please don't derail. Let me speak to Faith.
you know what the title of the channel says?
Derail.
It says that she checking her cell phone.
Thank you.
She checking her phone.
Thank you. I appreciate
So
it.
just because you want to interrupt, because you want to make it
You're
a topic.
interrupting me speaking to Faith. What is your point? See, you making it.
My point is,
you making it.
My point.
Thing. You're not even on topic for nothing. You're just here to attack you. You
not at all. You're being presumptuous. You're being presumptuous.
Okay, say
you're
something.
Being presumptuous.
Say something without saying you.
How dare you say that to her? You've been changing the damn subject all night.
I should be able to say to a human being anything I wish.
You've been changing the subject all night, though.
Here you go with you again. Can you guys
it's presumptuous. It's presumptuous. It's presumptuous.
Presumptuous.
Okay, well, getting back to what Q was saying, because I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, Q.
There's nothing at the bottom of. We're already at the bottom.
The devil's in the details, everybody.
But
hold on now. Now, Love Wisdom has said that she has not witnessed any of this on your channel, but we have two women that said that they have, and a couple of women down in the chat that said that they have. Now, what I am starting to look at, everybody can't be lying. You know what I'm saying? Now, you're saying that these women are batteries, but once again, what would they benefit from lying on you? Who are you that they should lie on?
Let me tell you.
Exactly.
I'm gonna use the men's side of Faith to answer your question. I gotta check a lot of the dudes who get over there and attack women, because what they do is just like on the women's side of YouTube, they tend to do this circle unity thing, where just because there's a guy talking negative about black females, there'll be a bunch of dudes come on just for that. and they'll get excited about it. But I see it in women's spaces also. It's like the excitement of being anti-male, and on the dude side, the excitement of being anti-female. But what I say to those dudes
I beg to differ.
What I say to those dudes is, stop wasting your time being mad at women. Go kill a dragon or something.
I beg to differ.
Go sit up here, travel,
I beg to differ.
create something. Make sure your children got some land, because it don't matter about black women. It matters about what you're doing as a human being, dude. And then whatever woman comes along that you pick, you make sure you vet her. Because as I tell these dudes, Faith, and me and you don't talk a lot, but as I tell these dudes, don't think that some white woman is going to be the answer to your black man prayers. She will go left also. If you're not a great leader, that's really the problem. And I'm talking as a human being. Other
Okay,
people,
yeah, I agree with that. Now, what you just said, I do agree with that.
I said on my
Now,
I respect his aspirations of leadership.
Okay,
I do.
but now
I just find his
with?
assertions. I find his assertions presumptuous to the point where it's not conducive towards cohesion.
per your view, I understand.
What is it about? What is cohesive about your narrative?
Is that what's cohesive is that males are humans too, and they should not be looked at as something less than human, just like women should not be. That's what's cohesive about it.
No one has ever called anybody less than human.
I never said that they called anybody.
Okay, sir. I know the devil's in the details. No one, in my humble opinion, has ever asserted that we are animals. I mean, white majority does that enough. We don't assert that we are animals. We may want to treat one another as animals from time to time. That's not the assertion that we project toward one another. We project resentment against genders. And what we need as a people, collectively, is to heal all of that emotional, what's a good word to call it? All that hoarding. Emotion. I shared this with someone. We as people are emotional hoarders. We cannot let go of what has damaged us enough to be governors. Okay, I mean, I just looked up, and I know I don't have a whole lot of resources of research. However, I looked up the basics, and they showed a whole bunch of pictures of every governor in the United States of America, and I didn't see one black face, not one. And so, if black men are asserting themselves to be, to consider themselves slayers of dragons, where is your governorship? Where is it?
Yeah, most we were never talking about governorship. We was talking about corporate governorship is a totally different thing. And if
that's power.
No, that's one level of power. If you really want power,
if you know a governor, you're gonna get a job.
If you no. Well, anyway, let me ask Faith and Love Wisdom this one thing.
Black men don't want to talk about real power. They want to talk about that old mediocre power.
Hold on. Order in the court. Okay, come on with the question.
Love Wisdom. So what you said earlier, I just want to leave with some information to help me do better for connecting people. So when you were talking earlier, the question that I was going to ask was, and I'll ask Faith the same thing. When guys do this building Love Wisdom, and they do it without worrying about what women are doing, which I do advocate. When someone, male or female, comes in Love Wisdom and they say, well, what about the women? If they come in, just like women are over here and they building and they trying to become better stewards of life, and when you got guys doing that, if someone comes over, male or female, and they say, well, what about Love Wisdom? What you gonna do? and they start derailing everything the guys doing because the guys don't have the women involved, just like many women have a women's only event. If we have a guys only event and people start coming in trying to shame men for having this, what should I say to them when that happens, Love Wisdom?
Stick to the topic.
Thank you, battery. That's a good battery.
I don't listen, Q. I don't have to put a battery in anyone's back.
I'm another
I stand
battery.
alone. Okay, well, I stand alone. I don't hate you or anything, but I want to call out the hypocrisy because
he's name calling. Neon, he's name calling. He's name calling.
Loves me.
So he's gonna.
Yes.
So that's my. I guess that's my name.
Arrested development in full effect and display.
Jesus loves me.
Just name calling as a deflect.
Don't call them sisters. Don't call them sisters batteries. Don't call them batteries.
He can call me whatever he wants.
Call them batteries. I said, here comes another battery. I was talking about the action.
I would say
that person a battery.
Now he's gaslighting you, Faith.
What's the answer?
No, he's not gaslighting me. Now, I know exactly what's going on this panel. Mm-hmm. But let me just go ahead and, like I said, we're going to get an open dialogue about this, and we're going to get to the bottom of everything. So, Love Wisdom wants to address the question that Q put out there. You can go ahead and do so.
If that's the case, brothers got to put their foot down. This is not a space for women. For example, manosphere, keyword is man. It's not a woman-friendly space. So I don't think women should be over there, but they're gonna go over there anyway. If women are having conversations to help women and men come in with their unsolicited opinion, block, because this is not the space for you. Now, no, you can be in the chat, that's fine, but when you start making your unsolicited opinions, you gotta go, because this is not the space for you. Same thing with the men. If the men is trying to build, what about us as women? Excuse me, this is not the space for you. Bye. Like, I don't understand what's so difficult with saying goodbye. This is not the space for you. Maybe when we have another live where it's gender neutral, you're more than welcome. But right now, sis or bro, we're building for us over here. Goodbye.
Some of them do have some of them do have gender neutral panels that I participated in, only because, and I've never confessed this online, my interest is what my son might be thinking. That's pretty much my interest, because I want to know what may or may not be in terms of different dimensions of his thought process that he would never confess to his mother. And so as I dig deeper in engagement of conversations throughout a period of time, now there was one period of time that I was dedicated towards someone who needed his son defended against a false accusation. That's a whole other story. But for the most part, my interest is, what is on these brothers? I'm being satirical right now. What is on these brothers' mind that my son may or may not be telling me to give me insight as to how he's conducting his manhood in his early 20s? And that, so I'm just, I'm retired, I'm interested, and I'm here. That's all it is. I ain't got nothing against nobody. I love all of you all. I really do.
So same question to you, Faith. I understand what Love Wisdom said. It's kind of funny. Sometimes when guys do that, they try, women or males who are lady first, they try to shame the brothers into letting the women in. I wanted to get out of y'all space, like Love Wisdom says, and let y'all get back to doing y'all thing. But what are your thoughts on that, Faith? Just to give me further insight.
Well, my thoughts is this, it really depends on who the host is. There are some black male spaces that are strictly for black men, like Ramil, he makes no qualms about saying that his space is a black male space. And I don't go over there. You know, I respect that. Then there are people like D. Darrell, O'Shea. They say that their space is primarily for Black men, but they also are open to women coming in and participating in the chat room and also having input. So it really depends. Now, if you are the type of person that is mature enough to have a conversation with both sexes where it doesn't turn into finger pointing and name calling all day, and people can actually progress and at least, you know, agree to disagree and everybody hear each other's opinion at the very least, then I think it's beneficial. Like over here, this is a woman's space, but as you can see, I am open to hearing a man's opinion. And I'm not going to sit here and do the finger pointing. I'm not going to call you out your name. I'm not going to mute your microphone or any of these things that have been done to me in the past on men's panels. You know, over here, we're going to have intellectual dialogue and everybody's going to get a chance to have their say, even though this is a woman's space. But brother, I'm not going to let you occupy this space for too long because we do have female things to talk about.
So I apologize. I've been a fan of yours before you even had 100. So I didn't realize that it was a female-only space. That's
no, it didn't start out that way, but it is that way now because I am realizing that Black women, we do have a lot of work to do amongst ourselves. But I do, you know, appreciate the input of the brothers. So you can still come around. You know, I have male moderators on this channel.
I'm gonna do exactly what I learned today, and I'll stay out of it, stay away. Let me also say before I leave, no Bayou Bunny, I was not talking about you, lady. Not at all. My mention had nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. No. You are a joy, Bayou Bunny. I never ever had an issue with you. But Faith, thank you very much. I will say this, Faith. I was here with you, Faith, and I challenged the attacks against my character, and I bow out to you, Faith, saying nobody ever produced any actual evidence. It's all unicorns and flying piglets, something people cannot do. I think that when I leave, there'll be a bunch.
You were asked direct questions.
Here we go, derail.
You were asked direct
questions.
Please let him finish so he can just leave. Let him finish so he can leave.
Thank you, Derail. So I know after I leave, Faith, there'll be a bunch of courage to come forth and say stuff about me, but it should have been said while I was here so I could answer directly. But like I said, there's nothing stated to support any of these lies that people have said about me. I love you, Black ladies. I love Black people in general. I'm ADOS, and thank you for giving me some knowledge of love, wisdom, and Faith. I do appreciate it. I'm out.
No problem.
I'll let y'all go back to the woman's channel.
All right. And we appreciate you for coming up here. We appreciate you for coming. All right, ladies. Let's get back to the topic, shall we? Because we were talking about our issues. Faith. Now, ladies, yes, I'm sorry. Who was that?
It's me, Neon. I just want to give you extend a sincere apology for going off the way that I did. I know that is not what your platform is for. I am a work in progress, and I am still learning to control these emotions. So please forgive me. It won't happen again, and I'm sorry that it came out like that. But I felt that it was very necessary to bring that to your attention specifically because this is your platform.
No, and I think that you did quite well. I mean, passion does not necessarily mean disrespect, and you were not disrespectful in your passion. So, you know, no apology needed, sister. You handled yourself very well, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes, well stated. Yes.
Right.
But we were actually having a conversation about the man shortage, and we were talking about, you know, what is it that sisters need to be doing as far as how we handle ourselves in the situation that we find ourselves in with our men. And now that I have 3 esteemed ladies on the panel, I would like to pose that question to each of you.
You are likely to be the most esteemed of all of us to have posed that question. What I would suggest is that we reconcile that whenever there's this pressure entitled, well, that people call loneliness, road with cats. You're gonna die alone. All this other kind of stuff, right? That is imposing upon someone's favorable outlook as to how they conduct their seasoned years. I beg to differ only because what's really important to remember is that there's no such thing as being bored. It's called peace. It's called peace. And any event that you get your act together to where your life is an open book. That's how tight and right your life is. It's like my life is an open book. Look me up. I'm cool. I don't have to be extraordinary or in the stratosphere financially. However, the way I conduct my stability and consistency is so reliable that anyone would find it a treasure to be in my company because they know where I'm coming from. And so it's, the popular tactic nowadays is to try to put pressure on women, or rather I should say that's been a long time. Put pressure on women. You're going to be alone. You're going to be alone. You're going to be lonely. And that, this is like, what do you mean I'm peaceful? Okay, I'm peaceful. I don't have anybody nagging me and pressuring me to alter my state of selfish, dare I say, narcissistic games. Okay, I'll take that, and it's just women. And I said all that to say this. There's nothing wrong with re-educating your mindset. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yes.
And when, like, for instance, when a person goes to university, they have to pay attention to their studies. Some of them, they do get, as Q says, derailed into partying and their hormonal, cravings. However, the goal initially is to acquire a point in life where you've achieved something that benefits your longevity, right? And that's what solitude can do for a woman. A period of solitude. I mean, that doesn't mean you don't see anybody or experience anything with anybody. What that means is that you prioritize how you re-educate keeping your own self company. You see what I'm saying? Because when you know how to...
So wait a minute. So what you're saying is basically how a Black woman can deal with the fact that she finds herself alone and in competition with other women for a small group of men is that perhaps she needs to focus on herself. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, you got to learn how to keep your own self company until... I don't know how many of us are religious out here, but there is a song, what God has for you is for you. And in the meantime, you got to know how to keep yourself company. And then as you improve upon that, what's due to you will come to you. And that's just the way it is. A person cannot find themselves subject to the gates of desperation because they are not in companionship with their heart's desire. It's really sad. It's nothing wrong with having lust and what people convince themselves to be love for a man that is the object of your desire. What the problem becomes is when that overtakes the fact that you are first and foremost to be satisfied with the company you keep with yourself. Because whenever they disappoint you, whenever they abandon you, whenever they do something that is just outrageous, that way you won't crack, burn, and die. You know, you
Mhm.
won't be,
Mhm.
you know, going around talking about I'm gonna kill myself. I can't live without him, and it's like, wait a minute, I was doing just fine because I know how to keep company with myself.
It's called
Now
having
he
hobbies. It's called having hobbies and things like that.
absolutely, and hobbies don't have to be expensive. You
Right.
know, that's what a lot of women are also in you know, they're captured with this commercial capitalist society of thinking that they have to keep up with the Joneses, for lack of a better term. And it don't take all that. It's actually, you know, learning to discover that you can do something new and great in the most humble way. You know, it's like, wow, I bought this aloe vera plant 2 years ago, and it is grown, you know, 4 times as much because I took care of it. I cultivated it. You know, or I took an online class for some, you know, random
But wait a minute.
certification.
I wanna interject real quick, Mela, because I see ladies down in the comments section and they're talking about addressing the numbers and finding new ways to do things. And what Mela is
Oh,
actually talking about here, you know, even though you know you guys don't really see it as being a solution to the man shortage, I see it as being very valuable information as to what it is that we need to be focusing ourselves on, because she said it numerous times, the being desperate, the desperation. And that is something that has been tearing us apart. The
right.
desperation is what ends up putting us in competition and at odds with one another. So all of these things that Mela is suggesting, that we basically get our own selves together and not be so focused on a man, a man, a man all the time. These are things
Mm-hmm.
that are also valuable, you know, as far as what we're dealing with in this man shortage, because there are a lot of us that just don't work on ourselves. Let's just be honest. We're
Right.
always
Mm-hmm.
focused on just a man. We're not
And
focusing and
there,
thinking about ourselves.
you know what, Faith? I would like to interject this in the interest of peace and harmony. Oh, I'll give an analogy. It's akin to standing in a long ass Starbucks line just because Starbucks is popular versus making your own goddamn coffee. You know, it's just as simple as that. You know, you're not actually regulated to subjugate yourself to a sense of desperation. You can find fulfillment in your own life as you were born, and evolved in, until what is destined. Now, I guess I believe in fate. You know, FATE. I believe in fate. What is destined for you will come. Are you ready for it? Are you ready to receive it successfully? You know, or are you standing in Starbucks line, you know, when you could have been making your own coffee and discovering all types of different infusions and views, and, you know, just things that just make you love yourself more. So when somebody comes at you with that rah-rah switcheroo game, you're like, no, I really am not interested in somebody that's going to distract me from all the things that I have developed to enhance myself, you know, because men are a distraction. I mean, when you fall in love, that ain't no joke. Okay. And
Exactly. And
they
hold
have,
on. And because of the
yes.
people in the chat room, I'm looking at the chat. Listen, you know, the focus on the numbers, you know, like I said, there is a man shortage. Okay. But what Mela is talking about is we cannot allow this to put us in a desperate mindset. We need to take this as a time to focus on ourselves, work on ourselves, make ourselves better. And in desperation, it doesn't even filter over into just men. Black women, do you realize that we are dependent on Asians to get our nails and our toes done? We are dependent on other
Ain't that
people
crazy?
to do regular stuff that we should know how to do ourselves, because we are so desperate. We're so desperate. We go into the Asian salons after they treat us like crap, and we continue to patronize them. I'm sick and tired of the mass desperation, not even just when it pertains to men, but this pertains to overall. We have been conditioning ourselves to be in a state of desperation in all facets and aspects of our lives. And this is filtering outside of the man shortage. So what Mela is talking about is very important. I do not want any of you to sit up here and gaslight through what she's saying, because what she is saying is so on point. You do have to work on yourselves. And I do see that we as Black women, we are desperate as a group, and this is in all areas. So please do not sit up here and make it seem like what she's talking about is not valid. But I do need to pass the mic on to someone else. I want to go ahead and pass it on to Neon Eyes down here.
Well, I wanted to make 2 points. The first thing that I wanted to say, try to make it quick, but I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Mela was saying. I think that as women, we've been raised and socialized by our family, in school, by our friends, everybody, to believe that we're supposed to be selfless givers our whole entire life, and that relationships and marriage should be a pillar of success our whole entire life. Our main goal should be to get married or get that relationship and, have children, all of this. Relationships aren't a pillar of success for every woman. Some people date in seasons. Not every woman dates consistent. Like, some people, I think, don't know how to be single. And I think that's what Mela was talking about comes into play. But I mean, first of all, no one's going to ever die alone. We have billions of people roaming this earth. Companionship comes in many different forms. It doesn't always have to be in the form of marriage or whatever, a relationship. Not everyone measures their value by their relationship status. I think women should stop doing that. Just because you're not in a relationship or you're not married doesn't make you any less worthy than a person who is. Because to be honest, a lot of married people are miserable, broke, and they don't know what to do with themselves. The second thing I wanted to say is, I think, like, when you talk about like the male shortages, you're specifically talking about in the Black community as far as the ratio to women to men.
Right.
I think the only solution to that would be to date out. Don't date Black men. If you've been dating Black men your whole life and no one has chosen you, or they don't treat you right, or you just haven't had success, date other groups of men.
Exactly.
What is wrong with that? Why won't anyone just come out and say, I listen to, content from the divested community and the pink pill content. I don't agree with everything they say, but girl, I know so many men. I have been persecuted by Black men because I was that girl who was in a room with a bunch of Black men, but it was that one guy who was non-Black that treated me like a princess, that treated me the best. So you sitting around trying to wait for a Black man to choose you, you're going to die alone. What you need to do is just date out. Don't date Black men. If you haven't had success your whole life, second nature should tell you to just date out. You don't have to be race loyal. I don't feel pressure to be race loyal if no one's treating me right.
Exactly.
Other ethnicities actually love Black women. They actually do.
They are crazy about us. They see us like
I don't know why Black men try to make it seem like don't nobody want us. That's not the case at all.
Mela, they do that because they see us as delicate flowers. They treat us like we're princesses. They allow us to be weak. They allow us to be vulnerable. They allow us to be girly and womanly. They're not hard on us the way Black men can sometimes be. They don't see us as some sort of coming from a struggle. They see us as a woman to be nurtured. They're more nurturing. From my experience, they're more nurturing. They are.
They love it, baby. They love it. They look at you with love in their eyes that you don't get from Black men. They just find you ever been in a field of weeds, and then you see this one distinctive flower that stands out and is vibrant and beautiful. That's the way they look at us. I'm not lying. That's true. Yes. Some of them won't confess it because they have their the peers in their culture. Peer pressure is a hell of a drug. Okay. So the peers in their culture would fight against their craving for us, but they actually do find their curiosity and craving for us to be somewhat overwhelming. You know, they can't help but, especially when you're pleasing to them. Now, the ones that are off-putting, they don't approve of them. However, those among us who are actually pleasing insofar as to how we communicate in reality, they are enchanted. It's like, wow, you are just an enchanting woman.
But Mela, that's the thing. some Black women, not all, but some, they lack imagination. Because they've been programmed their whole life to believe that they have to be and they're obligated to be race loyal, they could never imagine the type of experience they could have with the non-Black men. They lack imagination in that regard. So they miss out on the time of their life and love and so many different things because they're trying to wait for someone from the Black community to choose them who just ain't gonna choose you.
Okay, disclaimer though with that, they not trying to save no hood reps.
No.
You know, they not trying to do. They want a woman that they can, have on their arm and actually, appreciate. They want someone, right. and you don't have to be exceptionally accomplished. You just have to be suitable. In addition to the enchantment that they find in you, and that's why I think these women's spaces are necessary for us to make the distinction as to how we accommodate the narratives that Black men are feeding us. The Black men are feeding us that we're not good people, and if you hear that every day, before you know it, somebody who's weak-minded is performing, those types of behaviors. Now, being strong enough to just listen and participate and observe, I'm already familiar with who I am. There are women who are much, 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 much younger than I, and they're not familiar with the constitution of their spirit and soul. They're not familiar with what they will and won't allow for their boundaries, so that's what I'm looking forward to most of all, is that sisters come together so that we can exchange ideas about what proper boundaries are for better decision making in long term and fruitful relationships of family building. That's all I'm saying.
And I want to piggyback off of something that's Neon Eyes said about race loyalty, and I want to go over to Love Wisdom. Love Wisdom, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Here. She was quiet there for a minute. Love Wisdom, how do you feel about the man shortage, the choices that Black women have, and how we're currently dealing with it? What do you see? How do you see that we're currently dealing with it, with our race loyalty to Black men?
I think Black women are treating it as a form of competition and desperation, where we're man sharing, and most Black women know that they're man sharing, and it's like, well, if I do the most for him, he'll choose me over other women. And I think for Black women have options interculturally as well as interracially. I don't think Black women need to just be looking for Black American men. No, you have boundless options. There are African men, there are Caribbean men, there are men in the UK, there are men in Canada. You have Samoan men, you have Mahari men, you have
Wait, who is this? What the hell? Oh, who is this? Hello? Who is that? Aunt Bixby?
Be careful.
Okay. Somebody
be careful. Be careful with hackers, Faith, because people do hack into accounts through StreamYard. So be careful.
What the hell?
All right. Oh,
Wow.
getting back on topic.
Right.
You gotta at this point in YouTube, you gotta only allow people that you're familiar with, because there are people
Well,
that
Fix Me is a regular here, so
right. Maybe they had a Wi-Fi interruption. I don't know.
So there's Afro Latino men. So interculturally, Black women have options, and Black women also have options interracially. So me who, I'm attracted to Black men. However, I understand with Black women the frustration, because the thing is with Black men's loyalty is conditional. All right. He's conditional. He will tell you he is the most desired and every woman on the planet wants him.
right.
And he doesn't care about staying home. It's, well, whoever loves me, when I find the right woman, regardless of her race. I hear brothers in this space say that all the time. So it's time for Black women to have the same sort of energy. Look, I'm going to go for the best man for the job, whether that's someone interculturally or someone interracially. Now, to Neon's eyes point, I think with Black women, it's not that they fear dating interracially. I think, sisters, we put everything in historical context with what has happened to us by other groups of people. So Black women feel a sense of betrayal if they were to date out because of everything that has happened to us historically. However, if the men are not feeling that way, then the women over time are going to be like, well, fuck it. I'm going to go who loves me and treats me with respect. And I believe everybody deserves to be happy. Faith, if you don't mind me dropping her name, there's this sister, her name is Kimberly, but her channel is called For Harriet.
No,
and
go ahead.
And she had a very interesting commentary about interracial dating. And it was a Black professor, a Black male professor, and I never forget what he said. He even had a book out. He was telling Black women they need to date out. Because
I remember that book.
He was saying because Black men, now don't shoot the messenger, brothers, okay? Black men have a carrot dangling over Black women's head that nobody wants her. You ought to be with us because we're the only ones that care for you, while they get to have all of these women. He said,
and we worth $5. Don't forget that part. We worth $5.
However, if Black women start exploring their options, that would mean Black men have to compete with other races of men, which they don't want to do. So he was telling Black women,
other races and other cultures.
Right. Other races of men, they love Black women. They're afraid to approach Black women. You know what I mean? And he was telling Black women, you should explore your options. That means it will force Black men to compete, because now they don't have a race of women to fall back on when the white women or Asian women dump them to the curb. So you have a Black man, a prestigious Black professor telling Black women, you need to date out. Because if you keep relying on the same small pool of Black men, what's going to happen to you? There was some controversy last month about, it was this young brother, he had his law degree or whatever have you, and he was talking about he the prize. And he was out there laying out how Black men are unemployed, Black men don't make enough money, Black men in jail, Black men are gay. And he's saying he's the prize. So even amongst Black men, they are fighting for the viable option to be picked for women. And Black women is not on their top list. So they're talking about competing for women outside of the group. I got the degree. I'm making all this money. So they're putting themselves in position to get non-black women, whereas black women are like, well, I'm looking for black men, but I'm having, let's say, a white guy or a Ghanaian guy with money, who I could be hypergamous with, quote unquote, that I'm like, oh no, I'm waiting for this brother, but the brother is having his cake and eating it too with everybody. So I don't think black women should limit themselves. If a Caucasian man makes you happy, then that's who you deal with. If an Asian man makes you happy, then that's what it is. You already know the situation at hand. I mean, and that at this point, if the same energy is not being given with the opposite sex, then I mean, then what are you doing?
I say whatever it takes not to be exploited, go with that. If you're not going to be exploited in one direction or another, that's where you should be headed. That's the thing. There are men whose chief concern is to what they can exploit. They're conquerors, after all. That's their nature. Even from little boys, boys think differently than girls. Boys tend to want to tear up stuff and tear down things, and they're full of this energy that bounces off the walls, and that goes across the board for all boys, all that grow into men, and that's what they want to do. They want to conquer. So what I would say is examining a man's character to the fullest is what's necessary, regardless of what ethnicity or culture he comes from, because it's about whether or not he's going to actually treat you right. That's what that's what matters to me.
And you know what, Miss Mella, to piggyback off that, because you made an excellent point, and I think that's a point to Sister Faith as well. Desperation. One thing I noticed about black women, some of them become what I call latchkey squirrelers. So if you didn't receive any love from black men, and the one white guy says that you're beautiful, it's like, I gotta get with, that's the man who I want to deal with. That's who I want to deal with. You have to properly vet every single man that comes into your presence. This is a flaw that black women have. Because, I'm hitting a certain age. All my friends got kids. They married. The family asking. And what happens is you make the mistake of choosing wrong because you're desperate. You understand what I'm saying? The thing is, you have to know what you want so you can be able to get the man that you want, whether he be black or white. But you have to do your homework, and you have to properly vet. Now, the thing with interracial dating, that's another level of vetting that you have to do. And that's what sisters skip over.
Right.
Inside of your race, yes, you have to vet. But then again, there's commonalities, there's racially. Interracially, you're dealing with a different language, you're dealing with a different culture, you're dealing with certain biases as well. So you have to be careful when you go over there, because you have to make sure, number one, that man not only love you, but he love your people. You have to know that family respects you. Okay? They are going to speak English in your presence and not speak their little language to their son off the side. You have to be in a position in those
families. You got that right.
Where you're comfortable, and they're comfortable with you, and they're comfortable with your people. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's important, because when black people tend to interracially date, the whole family, for the most part, we embrace that person. And, oh no, you family, you one of us. But sometimes it's not necessarily the same over there. You are part of the family, but your particular family is not invited to their family, if that makes sense. So
it does. It does.
very, very, Black women have to be very, very careful. Now, that does not mean, oh, I'm not going to date interracial. No, 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 no. Do what makes you happy. But you
A
also
lot of
do an extra level of vetting.
Yes.
An extra
a
level
lot
of
of cultures, like the man that most pleases you and his family, depending on the culture, they are deeply into she's not one of us. And
Right.
they start doing slick dissing, you know, they talk in their language when you're at a function, knowing damn well that that is inconsiderate. And those things actually happen. I just would, for everyone that would be in the sound of my voice, I want, if possible, someone to consider the word or the phrase self-actualization. What matters, in my humble opinion, is when you are aware of what you will and won't tolerate, what you do and don't like, and that is concrete in the constitution of your spirit, soul, and everything you live for, then you're not going to tolerate anybody that crosses that boundary. And with that,
Exactly.
you'll be able to, you know, make the right choices.
Well, ladies, now one thing that I want to get out here, because there are Black women that will push back on you, and not only about the racial tension, but they will push back on you and they will say things like, well, Black women, you know, there really isn't that much of a man shortage. And if there is a man shortage, it's something that God designed by nature in order to even out things. And maybe the thing that God is trying to even out is you, because maybe you are something that the men are not desiring, and so that therefore the women that are desirable will get picked, and then
No.
you, being what God doesn't want anymore, will not get picked.
Let
What
me
do you say to those men?
speak on that.
And I'm telling you, this was an actual. This was an actual comment in my comment section.
Let me speak on that. Let me speak on that. That is not true. That is not true. It is a biological and a very natural and chemical need for a man and a woman to desire each other. Everybody is somebody's type. Every man is not going to be, I don't want that one. There's someone out there who's going to want you, especially if you're in shape, if you got the basics down pat, and you have, you know, you're well rounded, and you're got a pretty pleasant personality. That's complete and utter BS. That is some reverse psychology crap to keep you single and keep you dying alone.
This is other Black women telling this to other Black women.
That is toxic and poisonous, and it's teaching women to die alone. To me, that's like somebody throwing salt on your wounds and saying you should just give up because you're not worthy of being with, or you should just give up because no one wants you. That is the most sick. Are you serious? That is the most sick thing I ever heard. Everybody wants somebody. You may not be with someone. There is someone out there who wants you. That is ridiculous. Are you serious? That is ridiculous. No.
I'll tell you, like my grandmother told me, I know you ain't gonna fall for that one.
But you know what though? That's true, because I've heard Black women say that, like, there is no man shortage. But the thing is, it's like, what, we have 23 million Black women, and I think about 21 million Black men. So right there, it tells you that there is a shortage. And we're talking about mass incarceration. We're talking about unemployment. We're talking about things that affect Black men. And when it's time to choose a viable mate, what ends up happening is a lot of Black women end up dating down.
Yes.
They end up dating down. So in dating down, you're not passing on any wealth, because the woman has to keep balancing the scales. So there's somebody out there for everybody, but Black women have to be very careful not to fall into any pit, any traps. And this is why we were talking about the starter kit women, as far as, well, you know, I gotta build him up. No, he's not your project.
Right.
He ain't your project. Because the thing about it is this: I have never heard of a Black man building a Black woman up as far as she was nothing and he made her into something. That's a
Oh no,
rare.
you got black men on YouTube saying they not going to take a black woman with bad credit.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So there's never a situation where the black woman has a Cinderella story from literally rags to riches. Those are anomalies. What you have a lot of times is the frog and the princess mentality, where we got to pull you up, we got to clean you off, we got to fix you, all the while underneath you preparing your exit strategy for the next chick. You see what I'm saying? So there is a man shortage as far as viable men. There ain't no shortage. Like, you can get any black man. You know what I mean? But we're talking about as far as marriage and family and passing down wealth. You understand what I'm saying? We said it before. You have a lot of black women out here man sharing. You literally
I want to get the sister. I want to get the sister that made that comment. I asked her if she would be willing to come up here and share her view on the whole
That would be
man
great,
shortage
cause
thing.
because
that would be great.
it's a lot of sisters out here that are literally man sharing out here. And you know, some women, they genuinely don't know that their men got 3 and 4 other women in rotation, and some do, and they don't care, because it's like, I'm in competition with this other woman to get this man who 9 out of 10 got 5 other women in rotation, and he ain't gonna choose none of us because he got a new Rolodex.
And that's the thing, like at the base level, at the bottom, and I'm talking about when you talk about your basic man and basic women, there's 3 to 1. But the further up to the top we get, it's like more like 5 and 6 to 1. Because the more credentials the man has, the more education, the more money. Now you're in competition with non-black women as well as the 3 to 1.
Yeah,
God forbid he good looking.
And this is the pushback that I get, because people keep telling me it's not no 7 to 1 or 10 to 1. I say, yes, it is. I said the better the man, the more the competition.
Because of the shortage in numbers. And the banner that's showing, I understand mathematics. It's just the word want that brings me to pause. Is the banner, the banner holder with her comment, does she really think that we want that? We want to share misery. That's what she typed. We want to share misery. No one in their right mind wants to share misery.
No, to actually to clarify, because I think I know what she's talking about. It goes back to the man sharing, because you got women who are proud to be side chicks. Now, you got women who are
the desperation. The desperation.
But still, Miss Mella, any black woman who cheers on being a side chick, she wants to share in that misery, because she know that man either got a family or he has another relationship. And as Pretty Black Magic said, it's the Hunger Games. May the best women win. And you have some women who want to share in that misery because they want to get that man. So I get where the sister is coming from. And also, to your point, Miss Miller, it ain't this generation, because my mama a baby boomer, and she would tell you that black women was doing that back then, especially when it came to these R&B groups like the Temptations. Oh, you had all of these groupies literally fighting to get in bed with these men, and these men had wives. So to Faith's point about black women in desperation,
the Marilyn Monroe of the Marilyn Monroe effect is not a foreign concept. I mean, there are women that view a man that is in a more preferred position in life to be worth fighting for. That's not a foreign concept at all. That's going to continue throughout the eons of time, men and women. When there are people that are willing to fight for what they want.
But here's the difference though, because see, at the base level, only in the Black community, when you go down to the base level for these know nothing Negroes is in their mama's basement playing Nintendo. These Negroes even got 3 women vying for their attention at the base level.
Yes.
So only in Black America does that happen.
That's why we need that's why we need these panels amongst us, so that awareness is being, shared, because obviously they don't know that they choose wrong.
Well, I think also that with the current era of dating, with the pump and dump culture and hookup culture, promiscuity has been normalized, and not only that, it has also been made to be confused with polygyny. There's polygyny, there's polygyny, then there's polygamy, then there's promiscuity. Those are 3 different things, and women are being not only coerced, but they're being persuaded into situations that are toxic, not healthy, and they know they deserve better, but they settle because they don't think they can do better for whatever reason. And these are beautiful women I see every day who are settling for situations that aren't right for them. So a panel also needs to be held, because I used to see, well, I don't see it now because I don't follow those dudes anymore, but in the Black manosphere, I used to always see them talking about, they try to conflate promiscuity with polygyny, and polygyny with, they try to conflate promiscuity with polygamy, and polygamy with polygyny. Those are 3 different things. They're not the same.
That's
so
right.
there needs to be a difference made, because a man who practices polygyny, he actually is financially taking care of not only the women, but the children that he creates with those women. Polygamy,
Exactly.
you share multiple partners. You're not married to any of them. It's just a relationship where you're dating multiple people. Promiscuity, do I really have to define that? So, yeah, I'm done.
We're just playing, I call it hood.
They
polygamy.
fight. I like the banner. They fighting over Black men with multiple children and baby mamas with no job. That's what they fighting over. That's crazy.
But the sister is telling the truth though. And to Neon's point about polygyny, it's one thing if these dudes, if they really believe that, had the mindset of what's the FLDS with Warren Jeffs, all them out there, where you got one man who got about 12 wives and like 25 kids that he's taking care of. Okay, they're sister wives and they're being taken care of financially. They're not worried about welfare, nothing like that. You have a man taking care of them. But the thing about it is, the Wakandan fantasy land over here, these men don't have no jobs. See, the thing about it is her polygamy is not about taking care. It's not about taking care of these women. It's about having a house to go to. Okay, so I go to his house. I deal with Keisha for 6 months. We have a kid. Keisha starts her bitching. Within the 4th month, I'm talking to Lakeisha. I'm talking to Lakeisha within the 4th month of me fucking around with Keisha. So I'm talking to Lakeisha because I need a second house in case Keisha get on my damn nerves. So this is about having a house to stay in, and with the house to stay in, here come more kids. So now it's the golden triangle of housing that I can be in. I ain't taking care of none of these kids. But the minute one of them baby mamas get fed up with your ass and take you to that white man's court for your little punk ass $40 that does not even fill up gas these days. See, the Black woman always,
it can't even fill my truck.
Always using the white man in our affairs. But you do shit to bring the white man into your house. You see what I'm saying? When the Black woman talk about child support, and most Black women don't put Black men on child support. Most Black women want to handle this amicably as possible. But when you start messing up, okay, now I gotta let the white man come in between you, because at the end of the day, you gotta take care of your kids. Now all of a sudden, see, the Black woman and the white man, they work hand in hand. So this whole thing about hood polygamy is not about taking care of children. It's really about having extra places to stay. And these men become homosexuals.
Yes.
The dick is the rent. That's what it is.
Going door to door for women all day long. I've seen it, Miss Pretty Black Magic. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Door to door selling dick. Selling dick.
Man.
This is why sometimes when you kind of stumble onto these panels, it's about game and sex. You see? It's about game and sex.
But now we are coming up on the third hour, and I hate to cut you off, Love's Wisdom, because I know you can go in and you be dropping them gems, but we do need to get into the final thoughts segment.
Well,
And so
I think
I wanna start off with Neon Eyes for the final thoughts, and please bless us with your wisdom, sister.
Well, I just want to first say thank you, Faith, for having me on your panel. This is my first time being on your panel. I have been following your channel for, I don't know, maybe 2 months now. And I've just been kind of, studying you and stuff. And I do appreciate your wisdom and your experience. And it has helped me in different ways. And I also want to salute the other sisters on the panel. I just want to say in closing that I think to solve this numbers issue, Black women need to date out. Just date out, explore your other options. Black men are not the only option, regardless of what you've heard on YouTube. In the real world, they're not saying this stuff. I've only ever saw this stuff on YouTube. And everywhere I go, I see beautiful Black couples. I see beautiful interracial couples that are actually happy. I'm friends with a lot of them. I'm not going to even just speak on my personal life, but I just think that women need to do that. And also, there's nothing wrong with being single. There's nothing wrong with being your own best friend. You can have companionship. Companionship comes in many different forms. You don't have to be married to have companionship. I know plenty of people who have been in long-term relationships who are more fulfilled and who are more happy than people who are married. I think also that people should explore different subcultures and lifestyles that could solve a lot of this. A lot of women don't want to have children, and you're not wrong for that. It's your womb, and you get to decide what you do with it. And I just want to share one thing, and I'll be done. I'll try to make it quick, but there was a man on a panel who tried to play this mind game with me. Well, you're going to hit the wall soon. You better hurry up and get married and have children. Well, my response to that is, marriage and children has never been a pillar of success for me. I've actually never wanted to have children. The only way that I would actually get married was to pass down wealth and culture to a child. I wouldn't just get married for love. So I just want to say thank you, Faith. Thank you for letting me just rant and just be my crazy self. And I appreciate your insight into the other women. It's been very great. Thank you and bless you. This was great. Thank you. We all needed this.
No problem. And we are gracious and very lucky to have had you on this panel. Thank you, sister. And now I'm going to move over to Mela. Mela, please bless us with your wisdom, sister.
I appreciate the energy and insight in which I've received. If I could impart anything for somebody to take away, it is an acronym for the word love. Lots of various emotions. It is not just because your heart throbs for somebody, that doesn't mean that they are a viable source of long-term productive relationship. It's just lots of various emotions. They will pass. Okay. So, don't take everybody that gets you moist seriously. Just understand that promiscuity is not the key to locking something down. And what I will say is that it's a man's nature to pressure a woman into promiscuous, like different sexual escapades. That's just their nature. That's what they're going to do. And when a woman understands that you're not special, that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to push the envelope. So it is, I dare say, a woman's job to resist the temptation to accommodate his cardinal design. It's just, and I know that sounds one-sided, but it's true. It's a man's nature to pressure a woman to cross her boundaries. And I suggest that you all stand strong and stay firm and say no to promiscuity, because believe it or not, men like hoes. They love hoes. They
Yes, they
love
do.
hoes.
Yes,
And
they do.
when you understand the nature of a man, then you won't have any problem. It's like, okay, they love hoes, so all I gotta do is not be a hoe. And they'll take me seriously. That's all it is.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your wisdom and your input, Mela. And I'm going to go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you as well. I'll talk to you later.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Sister Love Wisdom. Save the best for last. Well, all of you were wonderful. But Miss Love Wisdom, please bless us with your infinite wisdom.
Thank you so much, Faith, first of all, and the family for allowing me to be on here. Excellent live, excellent words of wisdom for the sisters. Black women, you do have options interculturally as well as interracially. Do what makes you happy. As I always say, if you're going to date interracially, please do not disrespect the opposite sex. Just go ahead and be happy. Do not let these men tell you that you hit the wall. Some of these men have ran through the wall as early as 20 years old. Don't let them tell you no different. Never lower your standards for anybody. There's nothing wrong with being alone. Travel, learn a different language, get to know who you are so that when you are ready to date, you know exactly who you want and keep your standards the same. So you have options. You are the prize. And thank you again, Faith, for having me on.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, sister. I'm glad to have you and Mela and Neon Eyes. And I'm going to leave with these words of wisdom for myself. Ladies, I want to impart race loyalty. That's something that's real big with Black women. We don't feel as if we are being loyal to the community when we are thinking about choosing men outside of our group. But let me tell you something about race loyalty. In order for there to be race loyalty, there has to be reciprocation. And right now, I am not seeing the race loyalty on both ends being reciprocated. So if you have Black women who are race loyal and we're going hard for the brothers, we're going hard for our sons, we're going hard for everybody in our group, but ain't nobody going hard for us the same way we going hard for them. I think Black women, we need to revisit race loyalty. I'm just saying we need to revisit it. I'm not saying don't be race loyal because you be a fool not to, but at the same time, you might have to pull back a little. And when I say pull back a little, I mean you might have to come up off them front lines, sis, and let these men fight their own battles. You might have to pull back and be the one to nurture and heal the wounded, but not be the one on the front line. Now, as far as your choices and what you need to be doing and how you need to be conducting yourselves as a response to the man shortage, the ladies have laid it out. Ladies, expand your options. Expand does not mean exclude. That means that if any man does not treat you right, whether he be white, Black, or purple, if any man doesn't treat you right, know that you have other options and that you do not have to settle for just any man just to have a title. I think that we as Black women have gotten so used to being in competition with each other and gnawing at each other and being desperate, that desperation is filtered over into every aspect of our lives. We seek validation in so many ways that it even harms us. And seeking that validation in such a way where it harms yourself is not good for the community because the community needs you. You cannot seek validation to the point where you're pregnant on the front lines and you're being trampled down and killed. And as a result, the baby in your womb being killed because you want to exhibit race loyalty so bad. You're seeking validation so bad. You want love so bad from the Black men in the community that don't show you the way that you need to be shown. And I'm here to tell you, Black women, you got to seek that validation first within yourself. It starts with loving yourself first. And in loving yourself first, you give yourself permission to tell a man that you're not going to put up with being treated just any old kind of way, just so you can get pats on the head, brownie points, and Scooby snacks. Them pats on the head, them brownie points, and them Scooby snacks is not going to bring your life back, or the life of your unborn child back, or your dignity. And this is what we need to start learning. We need to start learning that it is okay for us as Black women to think of ourselves first. It is okay. In 2020 and 2021, because we're halfway through the year, Black women need to become selfish. Yes, I said it. We need to become selfish. And no, I'm not saying in such a way where, we're just saying fuck everybody, but in such a way where we're saying we're going to put ourselves first for a change. Because ain't nobody putting Black women first. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Black women being thrown in garbage dumpsters. I'm seeing Black women being hit upside the head with skateboards. I'm seeing Black women being put last, but then when it comes to fighting, we're put first on the front lines. Did you hear what I said? I see Black women putting last. We're being put last with everything else. But when it comes to fighting, we're putting first on the front lines. We're being put first on the front lines. Sisters, ain't you tired of that? Ain't you tired? Because I know I am. It's time for us as Black women to use a little word called dignity. It's time for Black women to stop fighting amongst each other, stop man sharing, stop tearing each other's marriages apart, stop saying that we're proud to be side chicks, and get some dignity about ourselves. It's time for us to hold our heads up and know that we are somebody. Don't let nobody tell you that you ain't nobody, because they a damn lie. Yes, selfishness is needed. Selfishness is needed. And with that, ladies, I'm going to end on that note. I want you guys to keep this stream. Do re-listen to it, replay it. It is 3 hours long, but get to the good part when we kick somebody off and we got to talking about our issues, because that is the work that we need to do. Black women, we need to work on ourselves. And sisters, stop being so catty and angry towards one another and treating each other like crap. We get enough of that from everybody else. Everybody steps on us and treats us like crap. We should not be doing it to each other. All right, with that, I am out. Love you guys, and stay tuned for the next live stream. I'll see you guys later. Good night.